Chapter 206. Yes, miss, how is Master Dongfang's injury? Elder Chen and Elder Xiao asked. Master Dongfang has been poisoned by a rare poison. It was created by the ancestor of the bloodthirsty sect using his own blood and the Frost Spider King's poison. I don't have a way to cure it right now. Yi Jioga added, the Frost Spider King's poison is unique to the bloodthirsty sect. Dongfang Ke was poisoned by that very same poison. Everyone was in an uproar when they heard this. Miss Yi, since you can recognize this poison, you must have a way to cure it. As long as you tell us, you can name any condition you want. Elder Chen said anxiously. That's right, young Miss Yi. Grandmaster Dongfang is not only our Alchemy City's city lord, he is also the only 6th-ranked alchemist in our Thunder Country. If anything were to happen to him, our Thunder Country would be shaken. Elder Xiao pleaded with a bitter expression. If Master Dongfang died, Alchemy City would be gone as well. Although I can't cure Master Dongfang's poison, I can help him alleviate it. Yi Jioga said slowly. Please speak, Miss Yi. Elder Chen and Elder Zhao's eyes lit up. But the cure isn't with me, it's with my companions. You guys were so loud last night that they probably won't dare come. It was impossible for Yi Jioga not to hold a grudge after being forced into such a state by his idiotic companions. Miss Yi, we were instigated by scoundrels to blame good people. Please be magnanimous and forgive us. Yes, miss, we're willing to apologize. Miss, Master Dongfang never doubted you. Everyone apologized at the same time. There's no point in begging me. I don't have the cure. Yi Jioga stood up. His clear eyes swept across the crowd and he said coldly, you guys think of a way to invite my companions back. I'll give Master Dongfang the medicine whenever they return. Yi Jioga, how dare you joke around with my uncle's life? Aren't you afraid that he'll blame you later? The Crown Prince said angrily. Worry about yourself. Yi Jioga looked at the Crown Prince as if he was looking at a dead man. The Crown Prince wanted to scold him again, but he was stopped by Elder Chen. This is our fault, so we should apologize. Don't worry, eldest Mississippi. We will ask your companions to come back and save Master Dongfang with the most sincere attitude. I'll send someone to post an imperial notice right now to announce the contributions of the young miss and her companion to Alchemy City. That's right, we'll pull up a banner and apologize to the city gate. As long as they forgive us, we'll let them hit us as they please. How can we just talk and not act? I think we should just carry a thorn and ask for punishment. Yes, please accept my humble apology. Elder Chen and Elder Xiao nodded. Offering a humble apology is a good idea, but it depends on who is doing it. Yi Jioga's gaze fell upon the Crown Prince. His meaning was obvious. Audacious. I am the Crown Prince of the Thunder Country. Who dares to ask for my humble apologies? The Crown Prince bellowed out. Your Royal Highness, why are you still putting on airs at a time like this? He didn't think that Elder Chen and Elder Xiao wouldn't be afraid of him at all. On the contrary, they raised their necks and shouted, if you didn't lead the wolf into the house, Master Dongfang wouldn't have been harmed by a heretic. Let me tell you, asking for a humble apology is a light punishment. If anything happens to Master Dongfang, just wait to see His Imperial Majesty with your head. The Crown Prince was trembling with anger, but he knew that Elder Chen and Elder Xiao were telling the truth. His father had many sons. If he were to die, another would be the Crown Prince. However, his uncle was the only 6th-ranked alchemist in the entire Thunder Country. If he were to die, there would be nothing left. Fine, for the sake of saving my uncle, I am willing to offer my humble apology. The Crown Prince was a flexible person, so he immediately lowered his head. Elder Chen and Elder Zhao's expressions softened as they praised. That's right. When Master Dongfang wakes up, we will tell you everything we did for him. Thank you. The Crown Prince cupped his hands. He suddenly felt that offering a humble apology wasn't a bad idea. At the very least, it gave him a chance to redeem himself. There's no time to lose. Everyone, please go ahead. Yi Jioga was determined to follow them. Elder Chen, Elder Xiao, and the others were extremely fast. The imperial board, banners, and vines were quickly prepared. The imperial board was plastered all over the streets and alleys of Alchemy City. There were even soldiers sent to patrol the streets. Everyone, including the crown prince, tied the vines around their necks and carried the banners towards the city gate. Outside of Alchemy City, on a small hill, Bai Songling stared at the city gate. His mind was constantly thinking about how to sneak in and save the young miss. Why don't I go in and take a look? Yi Yu moved closer to him. Forget it. Your injuries haven't healed yet. There's no point in going in. Don't go in again. Plus, Xiang still needs your care. Bai Songling shook his head. He wasn't familiar with Luo Tian and Junichen, so he was too embarrassed to ask them to take care of him. The treasure-seeking scorpion waved its pincers, wanting to volunteer to go in and take a look. Unfortunately, there was no one here who could understand its beast language, so it was useless even though it was a hero. Look, there's movement at the top of the wall. Luo Tian stood up and focused his attention on the wall. It looks like a banner. Bai Songling saw it and nervously said, "Don't tell me they want to threaten us again." Luo Tian's eyesight was good enough to see the words on the banner. He read it out loud. Young Miss Yi and her companions are the benefactors of Alchemy City. We wrongly accused good people and deserve to die 10,000 times over. We are here to offer our humble apologies. Oh, there really are people carrying vines. Isn't that Elder Chen and Elder Xiao, fourth-rank alchemists from Alchemy City? Damn, Dongfang Jianming is here as well. This can't be a trap, right? Bai Songling's group was in a heated discussion. They didn't dare to believe these people until Yi Jioga's arrogant voice came from the top of the wall. They have already apologized. Everyone, come back. Young Miss is too amazing. How did she do it? Bai Songling's eyes widened. Last night, they were forced into a miserable state by the Crown Prince and Alchemy City's people. Today, they came to offer their humble apologies. This was too fantastical. If young Miss wasn't amazing, she wouldn't be our young Mississippi, Yi Yu smiled. Everyone, don't let your guard down. Be careful of traps. Luo Tian cautiously said. After years of being chased, he wouldn't easily trust others under any circumstances. Luo Tian is right. How about this, you stay here and take care of Xiang. The three of us will go in and take a look. Bai Songling stuffed Lu Yunfei's storage pouch into Yi Yu's hands. Just as he was about to nag, he heard Yi Jioga's voice coming from afar. Why are you all dilly-dallying? It turned out that Yi Jioga had been waiting at the top of the wall for a long time. Seeing that Bai Songling's group didn't show up, he simply jumped down to look for them. Zi Shang casually followed behind Yi Jioga and appeared in front of Bai Songling's group with an arm around her shoulder. Chapter 207. Missy, this is? Yi Yu squinted at Zi Shang's slender and powerful palm on Yi Jioga's shoulder. Such a possessive posture meant that the relationship between this devilishly handsome man and Missy was not simple. This is Yi Zi, my guard. Yi Jioga's shoulder shook off Zi Shang's restless claw. She glared at Zi Shang as a warning. Which guard dared to touch Missy's shoulder? Was he courting death? Zi Shang's lips curled up. He was well behaved. When did Missy get such a guard? Why haven't we seen him before? Bai Songling looked at Zi Shang cautiously. Such a devilishly handsome man was definitely not normal. Could he be sent by a heretical cultivator? This is a long story. Yi Jioga scratched his face. He could not possibly say that Zi Shang was her creditor, right? Missy, there's no hurry. We have plenty of time. Yi Yu's voice was gentle but firm. Bai Songling nodded. Luo Tian and Junichen did not speak, but they were avoiding Zi Shang. It was obvious that they did not trust him. Yi Jioga had a headache. Looking at Bai Songling's attitude, it would be hard to pass without an explanation. However, Zi Shang was in the limelight this time. She had to think of a reasonable identity for him, or else it would be troublesome when she returned to Shangjing. She could not help but look at Zi Shang, hoping that he could give her some hints. Zi Shang raised his brows as he looked at her, looking like a king waiting for orders. Missy, is there something you can't say? The more Bai Songling looked, the more she felt that something was wrong. Heretical cultivators were extremely cunning. Just look at Lu Yunfei. This handsome man called Yi Zi looked like a monster. His skills were probably even more profound. Missy might already be under his control. Bai Songling gave Yi Yu and Luo Tian a look. The three of them moved lightly and surrounded Zishang. At the same time, Xiao Hong, Black Tyrant, and Big Mouth flew up. Even the treasure-seeking scorpion quietly crawled under Zishang's feet, preparing to launch an attack. Zishang's rosy lips curled up slightly. His dark eyes flashed with a teasing light. That mischievous look was so charming that Yi Jioga's heart could not help but tremble. He was not charmed, but scared. Zishang's fingers moved slightly, and an imperceptible force spread out. Don't mess around. Yi Jioga widened his eyes and stretched out his hand. Unfortunately, it was too late. The goo worm Xiao Hong screeched and flew back to Luo Tian's body like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Lil Red curled up in Luo Tian's arms and shivered. It cried and said, "I'm just a little worm." Black Tyrant and Big Mouth were also so frightened that they squirmed in Yi Yu and Bai Songling's clothes. Black Overlord, what's wrong? Yi Yu frantically pacified his goo worm. Big Mouth, get out here. Big Mouth scurried all over Bai Songling's body. It was so itchy that Bai Songling felt uncomfortable all over. He reached out to grab Big Mouth back. He didn't expect Big Mouth to be so flustered that he went into Bai Songling's pants. Bai Songling was so scared that he almost screamed. Yi Jioga held his forehead and looked at the chaotic scene helplessly. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She lifted her foot and stomped on Zishang's foot. Zishang moved his feet, and Yi Jioga stepped on the head of the treasure-seeking scorpion that had just emerged. The treasure-seeking scorpion wanted to attack, but its master stepped on it. Heartbroken, it flew back to the female scorpion's side to seek comfort. "Young miss, who is he?" Bai Songling angrily covered Big Mouth's moving mouth. He was actually sent by my grandfather to protect me." After Yi Jioga said this, he suddenly thought of a perfect idea. Grandfather couldn't show himself for some reason, so he sent him to protect me in secret. I was able to recover my cultivation and appearance because of him. He had always been hiding in the dark. This time, because the heretic cultivator is too powerful, I asked him to come out and help. Yi Jioga finished in one breath. Without waiting for Bai Songling and the others to ask, he immediately changed the topic. "How is Big Brother 1? Is he okay?" Bai Songling was a straightforward person. She immediately fell for Yi Jioga's trick. She honestly replied, "I have already fed him the antidote for the muscle-softening powder. He woke up once last night, but now he has fallen asleep again. I'll go take a look." Yi Jioga followed Bai Songling to the back of the small slope. He saw that Wan Ziang was still lying on the stretcher, but his complexion looked much better than yesterday. Yi Jioga felt his pulse again and nodded. He's fine, but his body is still a bit weak. He needs to eat something good to nourish himself. Where can we find something good to nourish him in this damn place? Bai Songling scratched her head. I was about to tell you about this. Grandmaster Dongfang was poisoned by the bloodthirsty sex king poison. The people from Alchemy City want us to go back and help him detoxify it. Yi Jioga stopped. No wonder they are all holding banners on the city wall asking for forgiveness. Bai Songling suddenly realized. Then let's hurry. Right, young miss, this is your bag. See if anything is missing. Yi Yu took out the bag that Yi Jioga gave her for safekeeping. Yi Jioga glanced around. The fat black rat, the treasure-seeking scorpion couple were all there. The bronze cauldron and other things were also there. She nodded. Nothing is missing. Then she remembered something else. Right, where is Yu Dai? We secretly sent Yu Dai back to the stronghold of Alchemy City last night. Bai Songling said. It wasn't easy for a group of men to take care of a little girl, so they secretly sent her back. If they hadn't agreed to meet up with Yi Jioga outside the city, they would have wanted to stay in the city. All right, let's go. Yi Jioga hurried back to Alchemy City with Bai Songling and the others. Elder Chen, Elder Xiao, and the Crown Prince were still anxiously waiting on the city wall. When they saw Yi Jioga's group heading straight for the Alchemy Pavilion, they quickly ran down the wall and followed. Yi Jioga returned to Grandmaster Dongfang's house and chased everyone out. Then, she had Bai Songling, Yi Yu, and Luo Tian guard the door, leaving only Juni Chen and Zishang behind. Little Mute, can your goo detoxify Grandmaster Dongfang's poison? Yi Jiuge pointed at the master. Juni Chen went forward and carefully examined Grandmaster Dongfang's eyelids. Then he pricked his finger and tasted the blood. How is it? Yi Jiu was a little nervous. If Little Mute's goo couldn't suppress the Spider King's poison, then she couldn't think of any other way. If it's just the Snow Spider King's poison, my poisonous Earth Dragon goo can still detoxify it. But after adding the blood essence of the bloodthirsty ancestor, it's beyond the range of those goo. Little Mute shook his head. What if I can force out a part of the poison in Grandmaster Dongfang's body? Yi Jiuge's Thunderfire Needle could only force out a bit of the poison. The most important part still needed the poisonous Earth Dragon goo to detoxify it. Let's give it a try. Juni Chen looked like he was trying to save a dead horse. Alright, incubate the goo first and get ready. Yi Jiuge took out the Thunderfire Needle and pierced it into Grandmaster Dongfang's body. Then she injected spiritual energy to detoxify the poison. Grandmaster Dongfang's meridians were like mud. The Thunderfire Needle had a hard time moving inside. Yi Jiuge had only driven it half a circle, and she was already sweating profusely. Her spiritual energy was running out. She was about to take out a spirit recovery pill. Zishang suddenly reached out and took it. Chapter 208. What are you doing? Yi Jiuge reached out to grab the pill. Zishang threw the pill into his mouth and said, I'll give you something better. With that, he placed his palm on Yi Jiuge's back and a wave of pure spiritual power surged in. The stilled Thunderfire Needle immediately spurted out like it was injected with chicken blood. It instantly passed through several meridians in Master Dongfang's body. Why are you suddenly helping me? Yi Jiuge looked at Zishang vigilantly. This guy was a demon that wouldn't do anything without benefits. It was too suspicious for him to help her for no reason at all. Because I'm in a good mood today, so I'll give you some benefits. Zishang wouldn't tell Yi Jiuge that he was making his presence known. Yi Jiuge still had some doubts, but with Zishang's help, the healing effect was very obvious. She didn't refuse. Soon, the Thunderfire Needle completed one cycle in Master Dongfang's meridians and flew out of his Baihui point. Little Mute, use your goo. Yi Jiuge stopped. Juni Chen rolled up his sleeves and a large black dot flew out of his arm. Then it turned into a very beautiful pink caterpillar with a round head and entered Master Dongfang's body. Why is it pink? Yi Jiuge asked in surprise. This is the only mother goo in this batch. If it wasn't for the emergency, he wouldn't have taken it out. He had been raising goo for so many years, but this was the first time he had raised a mother goo. It's pretty. Yi Jiuge was a bit moved. A pink caterpillar was filled with the heart of a girl. It was very suitable for her. Don't talk and watch the old man, Juni Chen said solemnly. The black energy on Master Dongfang's face faded bit by bit. It seemed that the pink caterpillar was starting to work. At this time, Juni Chen suddenly asked, the people from Alchemy City treated you so badly, why did you still save him? First, Master Dongfang has always been helping me. He's not a bad person. Second, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Master Dongfang was hurt so badly by bloodthirsty ancestor that the two are mortal enemies. Helping him is the same as fighting against bloodthirsty ancestor. Yi Jiuge explained simply. You really believe this old man can deal with bloodthirsty ancestor? Juni Chen glanced at Master Dongfang in disdain. No matter how he looked at it, he was defeated so easily by the bloodthirsty sect. He is the only level 6 alchemist in the Thunder Nation. He has friends all over the world. If he can't deal with it, he will find a helper. Yi Jiuge was very confident in the old man Dongfang Yao. You have a point, Juni Chen said thoughtfully. While Yi Jiuge was talking to Juni Chen, his eyes never left Master Dongfang. She found that after the black aura on his face had subsided to his neck, it suddenly surged back at an even faster speed than before, like a flood breaking through a dam. What's going on? Yi Jiuge hurriedly sealed the black gas with a needle and asked Juni Chen. That insect queen can't cure his poison, Juni Chen said coldly. Damn it. Yi Jiuge could not help but bite his lower lip as he subconsciously looked at Zishang. It was said that this guy was in a good mood today. Maybe he would give her an idea for free. Unexpectedly, Zishang's eyelids were half-lidded and his breathing was steady. He had actually fallen asleep while standing. Yi Jiuge looked away gloomily. Sure enough, she could not count on this unreliable guy. She had to rely on herself. Yi Jiuge swallowed a spirit recovery pill and was about to continue using the Thunderfire needle to detoxify Master Dongfang when she heard Zhu Nichen say coldly, "This old man better be able to deal with the bloodthirsty ancestor." After saying that, his abdomen rose and fell violently. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a golden insect. This insect was about the size of a thumb and looked like a beetle. It had the head of an insect, but it had a human face. Upon closer inspection, it looked somewhat similar to Zhu Nichen. Other than the human face, the black dots on the beetle's wings were also human faces. They were densely packed, layer upon layer, flickering in and out of existence. It was very strange and scary. "Is this your natal goo? You even managed to cultivate a human face." Yi Jiuge was shocked. The Blood Cloak Miao tribe's cultivation method was very strange. They focused on the integration of human and goo. They devoted their entire lives to cultivating caterpillars into human-shaped insects. It was said that when the human-shaped insects successfully cultivated, they would become their second incarnation. The body would be indestructible and indestructible, comparable to immortality. If I hadn't been injured by that dog bloodthirsty ancestor, I wouldn't have just cultivated a human face, I would have cultivated a human head, the natal goo said unhappily as it flapped its wings. That voice was exactly the same as Zhu Nichen's. After spitting out the natal goo, Zhu Nichen had become a real mute. He made a gesture to the natal goo with a straight face. "What are you rushing me for? I am the king of goo. I usually eat the most poisonous things in the world. Now I have to suck the blood of an old man to detoxify him. How miserable." The natal goo muttered as it flew to Master Dongfang's neck. Then it opened its mouth, revealing its sharp white teeth, and bit down on the blood vessels on the neck. The natal goo's attack was much more powerful than the pink caterpillar. The black gas on Master Dongfang's face dissipated like a receding tide, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. The pink caterpillar wobbled out of Master Dongfang's mouth. Its body had grown 3 times its original size, and it was so fat that it had turned into a pink ball. It flew up and down, and finally fell to the ground with a thud. It bounced and rolled to the corner of the table. "It'll be fine, right?" Yi Jiuge said as he picked up the round pink caterpillar. "It has sucked too much poisonous blood, it can't live." Zhu Nichen gestured to Yi Jiuge with a straight face. "Can you give it a spirit beast pill?" Yi Jiuge felt it was a pity. After all, it was a hero and a rare female insect. It was too trustworthy to die like this. "You can try, but the possibility is not high." Zhu Nichen waved his hand and ignored Yi Jiuge. "Then let's try." Yi Jiuge still had a lot of spirit beast pills. He took out 2 and crushed one to feed it. The fat pink caterpillar was already stuffed to death, but when it saw the good stuff, it forced itself to swallow it. His round belly immediately bulged out again, as if he had a hernia. Yi Jiuge was really afraid that it would die. After feeding it one, he put away the other one. Then he stretched out his fingers and massaged its belly to help it absorb. The pink caterpillar showed a comfortable expression, and with its fat belly, it fell asleep. After eating and sleeping, this pink caterpillar was quite carefree. Yi Jiuge smiled and massaged the pink caterpillar while watching Zhu Nichen detoxify Master Dongfang. Chapter 209. Zhu Nichen's body didn't move, but his abdomen kept vibrating, making strange noises. The life-bound goo's winged face revealed a ferocious expression, as if it was in great pain. It absorbed the blood faster and faster, and the black gas on Master Dongfang's body decreased. But in that place in his heart, there was always a soybean-sized piece of black gas stuck there. Zhu Nichen's face became paler and paler, his face covered in sweat. It was obvious that using the life-bound goo was a huge burden on him. Yi Jiuge opened her spirit eye and looked at Master Dongfang's chest, only to see the black gas stuck to the top of his heart meridian. She took out her Thunderfire needle and stabbed it, releasing a small purple electric current. The ball of black chi bounced off. The life-bound goo took the opportunity to suck harder, sucking out a drop of dark red blood from Master Dongfang's neck. The drop of blood was very strange. It was in the shape of a heart. After it was sucked out, it wriggled and tried to escape, but was swallowed by the life-bound goo. Hee, bloodthirsty old man, you didn't think I would be waiting for you here. The life-bound goo chuckled and flew back into Jun Yichen's abdomen. What's up with that drop of blood? Yi Jiuge finally figured it out. Jun Yichen helping Master Dongfang detoxify was fake. He just wanted to suck that drop of blood. That's bloodthirsty old man's life-bound blood essence. It's very important for him to cultivate the bloodthirsty great art. The life-bound goo replied proudly in Jun Yichen's stomach. The reason why bloodthirsty old man was willing to take out this drop of blood essence to make poison was because he had to get Master Dongfang. Unfortunately, no matter how much he calculated, he never expected that Jun Yichen would appear here. He also never expected that Jun Yichen's vital insect would recover its cultivation through Yi Jiuge's spirit beast pill and snatch away his drop of blood. Then is Master Dongfang successfully detoxified? Yi Jiuge didn't care about bloodthirsty old man's blood essence, she only cared about Master Dongfang's illness. This old man is lucky to have met me, but bloodthirsty old man is very cunning. Even though he's detoxified, his body has suffered great damage. To be completely cured, he needs to use the blood lotus from bloodthirsty sect. Otherwise, he can forget about cultivating in the future. Jun Yichen said, Blood lotus? What is that? Yi Jiuge asked with a frown. It's a kind of treasure that bloodthirsty ancestor raises in the blood pond. It's rootless and feeds on blood, but it can bloom into the most beautiful lotus flower. It has the effect of purifying blood. Bloodthirsty ancestor cultivates by sucking human blood, so he has a lot of impurities in his body. He relies on this blood lotus to repair them. Jun Yichen's eyes were filled with greed when he talked about the blood lotus. It was a good thing. Let's talk about the blood lotus after Master Dongfang wakes up. It was good enough that Yi Jiuge had saved his life. Helping him with his cultivation was no longer an option. He'll wake up in an incense stick's time. I'm going to cultivate now. Jun Yichen had swallowed ancestor bloodthirsty's blood essence, so he had to refine it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Go, I'll stay here and watch him, Yi Jiuge said as he waved his hand. After Jun Yichen left, Zishang, who had been standing with his eyes closed and pretending to be asleep, suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at Yi Jiuge's fingers that were massaging the pink caterpillar and said, How long are you going to massage it? Don't tell me you're jealous of a bug. Yi Jiuge looked at Zishang in surprise. This was a female bug. That's right, I'm jealous. Don't forget that your entire body belongs to me. Zishang smiled very gently, and his voice was very pleasant to listen to. Don't you have anything to report when I'm in seclusion? Yi Jiuge finally understood that there was a hidden meaning in Zishang's words. She carefully thought about all the things she had done during this period of time, and immediately remembered the drop of blood that had been swallowed by the fat black rat. My king, I was wrong. I didn't think things would turn out like this. After Yi Jiuge honestly explained what had happened, he took out the fat black rat from the bag and placed it in front of Zishang. After it ate my drop of blood, it has been unconscious. Take a look and see what's going on. At least you know what's good for you. Zishang glanced at Yi Jiuge and took the fat black rat. The fat black rat landed on Zishang's hand. Its eyes were still closed, but it could clearly feel the approaching danger. Its fat body shrunk even tighter, and it even seemed to be shivering. Zishang's palm did not move. A black light was emitted from his palm and enveloped the fat black rat. The fat black rat's black fur underwent a huge change. Its black fur turned into a light silver color, shining with a beautiful radiance. The surface was covered with golden veins, like ripples on the surface of water. The most mystical thing was that there was a small golden flower bud on its head. The day I picked it up, it looked like this. Yi Jiuge hurriedly said. Zishang did not reply, but the black light in his hand became even hotter. The fat black rat's face revealed a painful expression. The flower bud on its head slowly bloomed, and the stamen of the flower flowed out a golden radiance that covered its entire body. The fat black rat actually turned into a baby with a flower on its head in the golden radiance. It was chubby, tender, and had delicate facial features. It was extremely cute. Yi Jioga forcefully blinked her eyes, thinking that she was seeing things. Very quickly, the black light in Zishang's palm disappeared, and the baby also disappeared, turning back into a fat black rat. What's going on? Yi Jioga was a little surprised and hurriedly asked, was that baby a rat that turned into a spirit, or a child wearing a rat skin? Neither. Zishang shook his head. Was it an illusion? Yi Jioga asked again. Also not. Zishang still shook his head. Then what was it? Yi Jioga was anxious. How could there be a fat rat turning into a cute baby in this world? If she did not clarify this matter, how would she be able to order the fat black rat to spit saliva for her in the future? We'll know when it wakes up. Zishang continued to shake his head. No matter how Yi Jioga asked, he would not say. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Anyway, this fat black rat is mine. Yi Jioga snatched the fat black rat from Zishang's hand and stuffed it back into the bag along with the pink caterpillar. At this time, the crown prince's excited shout came from outside the door. What are you guys blocking here for? Quickly let Ben Gong in. If anything happens to Imperial Uncle, can you afford to pay for it? Eldest Miss is inside helping Master Dongfang detoxify the poison. Unrelated people are not allowed to enter, Bai Songling replied coldly. Do you think this empress is an outsider? Are Elder Chen and Elder Shao irrelevant people? The crown prince's voice was as sharp as a hen that had been strangled. He shouted hysterically at the door, Yi Jioga, come out. How dare you call eldest miss by her name? Bai Songling was also angry. Seeing that the situation was about to get out of control, Yi Jioga was still calm. She reached out to feel Master Dongfang's pulse. Seeing that his pulse was stable and there were signs of him waking up at any time, she raised her voice and ordered Bai Songling, let them in. Chapter 210. Yes. Bai Songling glared at the crown prince before calling Luo Tian to the side. The crown prince snorted disdainfully and rushed in first. Elder Chen and Elder Shao hurriedly followed him into the house. Yi Jioga sat on the chair with a smile. She was dressed in a sky blue dress that made her look like a cloud blooming in the clear sky, ethereal and beautiful. Zishang stood quietly behind her. His eyelids were slightly drooping, as if he was asleep. As soon as the crown prince entered, he angrily pointed at Yi Jioga's nose and shouted preemptively, Yi Jioga, how dare you block us outside? Do you want to do something to uncle? Yi Jioga didn't say anything. Even the smile on his face didn't change. Zishang raised his eyes slightly and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He raised his hand and shot a purple light at the crown prince. The crown prince screamed and was sent flying. He hung upside down on a tree. Speak human language when you come in. Don't scare Master Dongfang. Yi Jioga's voice was gentle and dignified as if she didn't know that her guards had pulled the crown prince out. Young mistress is right. Elder Chen and Elder Shao didn't dare to offend Yi Jioga. They nodded and didn't dare to look at the crown prince. Young mistress, is the poison in Master Dongfang's body cured? Elder Chen asked respectfully. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. As soon as Yi Jioga's voice fell, Dongfang Yao's fingers moved slightly. His eyelids twitched and he finally opened his eyes. City Lord, you're finally awake. Elder Shao hurried over to help him up. He was so excited that tears were about to flow. Dongfang Yao raised his hand to stop the agitated Elder Shao. He slowly sat up on the bed and lifted the quilt to get out of bed. City Lord, you've just recovered. You should rest for a while. Elder Chen said anxiously. I'm fine now. Where are Dongfang Jianming and Zhang Peng? Dongfang Yao's complexion was somewhat pale, but the sharp glint in his eyes was like a cold wind blowing past an iceberg, causing one's heart to shiver. The crown prince is outside. Zhang Peng seems to be busy with the alchemy pavilion. I haven't seen him for a long time. Elder Chen replied carefully. Get someone to catch Zhang Peng immediately. Dongfang Yao ordered. Yes. Elder Chen ordered without hesitation. Then, Dongfang Yao coldly ordered, 2 more men, bring that bastard Dongfang Jianming in. Capture? Elder Chen was shocked and exchanged a glance with Elder Xiao. Dongfang Jiaming was the crown prince. It didn't matter if he scolded him, but if he was caught, it would be a big deal. Therefore, neither of them dared to make a move. I've been sick for a while, so my words don't matter anymore, right? Dongfang Yao's voice wasn't loud, but his aura was very strong. This subordinate wouldn't dare. Old Qin shivered and immediately turned around to instruct the guards of the concoction pavilion. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and take down the crown prince. Yes. The guard of the concocting medicine pavilion did not dare to ask any more questions. He immediately grabbed the crown prince, who was hanging on the tree, and brought him inside. Imperial uncle, what are you doing? The crown prince was greatly shocked and roared at Yijioga. Did you use an evil technique on Imperial uncle to have him deal with me? Shut up. Dongfang Yao abruptly picked up the teacup on the table and viciously threw it at the crown prince. There was a bang. The teacup splashed on the crown prince's face, leaving a bruise full of blood. Dongfang Jianming, you're a heartless beast. You dare to collude with evil cultivators to murder Miss Yi. You didn't even spare this old man. You deserve to die 10,000 times over. Dongfang Yao gnashed his teeth and cursed. Imperial uncle, I didn't. The crown prince shook his head like a windmill. You still dare to quibble at this point? These past few days, Su Junqing and Xiong Yun who have been talking about your good deeds at my bedside. Dongfang Yao's words scared the crown prince and made him pale. The crown prince's body softened as he knelt on the ground, wailing and begging. Imperial uncle, I'm wronged. Su Junqing falsely accused me. You don't have to say any more. Our Dongfang family doesn't have a cruel and unscrupulous beast like you. Come, take Dongfang Jianming to the prison and send him back to the capital. After Dongfang Yao said this, he seemed to have aged 10 years. Although he didn't like this nephew, he was still heartbroken to be murdered by him and his disciples. Imperial uncle, I was forced. It was Su Junqing who cast an evil spell on me. I'm innocent. Dongfang Jianming screamed and struggled desperately. The guards didn't dare to approach him. What are you waiting for? Do you want me to do it myself? Dongfang Yao angrily said. The guards didn't dare to hesitate and quickly dragged Dongfang Jianming away. And that Su Junqing, where did he go? Dongfang Yao asked again. Su Junqing went to Red Clay Valley to dig up Lu Yunfei's corpse. Yi Jioga replied. Immediately send someone to find him. We absolutely can't let him escape. Dongfang Yao hated Su Junqing the most now. I'll go. Bai Songling took the initiative to stand out. I'll go too. The blood feud between him and Su Junqing was absolutely irreconcilable. If he didn't catch Su Junqing himself, his heart wouldn't be reconciled. Yi Jioga said, Yiyu, take some people to Red Clay Valley. Big Brother Bai, immediately send a message back and tell them to keep an eye on the Su clan. There was such a big commotion in the city last night, I'm worried that Su Junqing might have escaped. Okay, I'll do it right away. Yi Yu and Bai Songling replied in unison. Bai Songling decided to return to the capital overnight to personally keep an eye on the Su clan. Young Lady Yi is truly thoughtful. Dongfang Yao sighed. After this incident, he finally realized that Alchemy City didn't have enough time to deal with such sudden incidents. This gave the heretical cultivators an opportunity. Yi Jioga quickly advised, Grandmaster Dongfang is overpraising me. Your body has just recovered, you should rest well. I'm not tired. If young lady has time, can you accompany this old man to see Zijuan? Dongfang Yao was very polite towards Yi Jioga. He even changed the way he addressed her from little girl to young lady. I also want to see Senior Li. Yi Jioga and Grandmaster Dongfang went to see Li Zijuan. Although Li Zijuan was also poisoned, it was nothing compared to the royal poison in Grandmaster Dongfang's body. The reason why he didn't wake up for so long was because everyone was busy saving Grandmaster Dongfang. No one paid attention to him. Grandmaster Dongfang personally concocted an antidote for Li Zijuan and poured it down his throat. He quickly woke up. Li Zijuan struggled to get up and said, Master, it was Zhang Peng who poisoned us. I know it was him. Dongfang Yao pressed Li Zijuan down and said, Elder Chen's group has already sent people to capture him. He won't be able to escape for long. Master, this disciple really doesn't understand. You treated Zhang Peng so well and even let him manage the alchemy pavilion. Why would he poison us? Li Zijuan had a sad expression. Being stabbed by one's own people was the most painful thing. What else could it be? In the end, it's all about benefits. Dong Fang Yao sighed and said to Li Zijuan, "We need to learn from this lesson." Li Zijuan nodded and began to reflect on his mistake. Yi Jioga was bored to the side and wanted to find an excuse to leave. At this time, Luo Tian came in and reported to Yi Jioga, "Young lady, fourth lady is outside and wishes to see you." Chapter 211. Fourth sister, why are you here? Yi Jioga was a bit confused. He got up and said to Master Dongfang, "My sister might be looking for me. I'll go out and take a look." "Eldest miss, please go ahead," Dongfang Yao said politely. "I'll probably be staying in the alchemy pavilion for a while. If Master needs anything, feel free to come find me." Yi Jioga got up and said goodbye before going to see Yi Rui. Yi Rui stood ramrod straight in the garden outside. Her small body wrapped in a black dress made her look even more petite. The spring scenery in the garden could not alleviate the hostility on her small face. Seeing Yi Jioga come out, her eyes curved and she revealed a cute smile. She shouted, "Big sister. Why you here? I was going to see you later." Yi Jioga held Yi Rui's hand and looked at her carefully. He said with some heartache, "You've lost weight. It's been hard on you." "It's not hard on me, it's big sister." Yi Rui obediently shook her head and said, "Big sister, I'm here to say goodbye. I'll be going back to Shangjing with father later." "You don't need to go back to Shangjing with them. Once I'm done here, you can come back with me. You don't need to return to the Yi mansion anymore." Yi Jioga came out to set up his own house and planned to take Yi Rui with him. Unexpectedly, Yi Rui shook her head and said apologetically, "Sorry big sister, I want to go with father." "Fourth sister, there's something you might not know." Yi Jioga paused, sighed and said, "Your mother passed away a few days ago." "I know. Mother was killed by Madam." Yi Rui said calmly. "Then you still want to go back with them?" Yi Jioga suddenly found that he couldn't understand this little sister. The death of a mother should be the most painful thing in the world, but she was strangely calm. "Because of this, I want to go back with them." Su Junqing ran away, the crown prince was captured, and Su Yufeng and Yi Shanshan lost their support. At this time, I have to stay by father's side. Only then can I get revenge for my mother. Yi Rui's calm voice hid a strange and gloomy undercurrent. It was inexplicably frightening. "You're still young, you don't need to worry about revenge. Leave it to me." Yi Jioga didn't want Yi Rui to stain her hands with blood at such a young age. "Big sister, you've already helped me a lot. I have to get revenge for my mother myself." Yi Rui revealed a faint smile. He bowed to Yi Jioga and left without looking back. His short and thin body exuded an indescribable determination. Yi Jioga sighed. When he returned to his room, he was still worried about Yi Rui. Yi Jioga sighed. When he returned to his room, he was still a bit worried. "Don't talk nonsense. She's still young." Yi Jioga frowned. It was already hard enough for her to have a bewitching man as her creditor. She didn't want to have another demoness as her younger sister. "That's not up to you." Zi Shang shrugged. He would never tell Yi Jioga that Yi Rui had already become a little obsessed. With me around, even if she enters the demonic sea, I will pull her out." Yi Jioga rolled his eyes at Zi Shang. She didn't believe that Yi Rui would become a demonic cultivator at such a young age. She didn't expect that Yi Jioga would suddenly move to Yi Jioga's side. He pretended to be wronged and said, "Little heartless. You only want to help your sister. Why don't you help me?" "Help you what?" Yi Jioga was confused. "Right now, I'm floating in the sea of desire. I'm just waiting for you to help me," Zi Shang said matter-of-factly. He didn't forget to give Yi Jioga a flirtatious look, driving at the slightest disagreement. "Do you really think your sister is easy to bully?" Without hesitation, Yi Jioga elbowed him back and said, "Scram! TSK, you little violent." Zi Shang quickly dodged Yi Jioga's attack. "If there's a next time, it won't be like this." Yi Jioga narrowed his eyes and said threateningly, If Zi Shang was standing in front of her, she would definitely kick him in the groin. The next time will be a month later. Zi Shang scanned Yi Jioga's slightly flat figure and said suggestively, then you have to work hard. Don't disappoint me. Don't eat it if you're disappointed. Yi Jioga suddenly felt that flat-chested was pretty good. If Zi Shang was hoping that her red bean pie would turn into a cream cake in a month's time, then she should just wash up and sleep. This won't do. Zi Shang seemed to have thought of something. He suddenly reached out and grabbed Yi Jioga's red bean pie and said seriously, you have to rub it more from now on. Yi Jioga expressionlessly lowered his head and looked at Zi Shang's big hand. Then, without hesitation, he reached his hand down and said coldly and heartlessly, if you have the ability, then let's rub it together. She was throwing caution to the wind. Zi Shang once again dodged Yi Jioga's unexpected attack. Then, he looked at Yi Jioga with an expression that said, I'm serious. Otherwise, do you think that with your small body, you can withstand me? Yi Jioga frowned. He suddenly thought of a terrifying thing and blurted out, don't tell me that you have 2 big sticks in your human form. Before Zi Shang could reply, Yi Jioga thought of an even more terrifying thing. Could it be that you want to use your original form? *CK. You beast. Yi Jioga rejected beasts thousands of times. What are you thinking? Zi Shang felt that he couldn't keep up with Yi Jioga's unrestrained thoughts. Seeing that Zi Shang didn't have that thought, Yi Jioga heaved a sigh of relief. I didn't expect little Jioga to have such a heavy taste. Zi Shang squinted his eyes. His eyes flashed with a dangerous light as he said slowly, original form, right? I will let you be satisfied one day. However, the previous half-human half-snake was not his complete form. If little Jioga saw his true form, he would probably be shocked. No need, I'm already satisfied. Yi Jioga shook his head decisively. As she said that, she felt that something was wrong. Why did she feel like she was thirsting for Zi Shang's human form? All right, little Jioga, you don't have to say what you mean. I understand. Zi Shang winked at Yi Jioga with his peach blossom eyes. Yi Jioga continued to be expressionless. Just as she was thinking about how to suppress this arrogant guy, Zi Shang put away his playful look and said seriously, I want your vital yin, not to use you as a cultivation furnace. Although the meridians in your body have been cleared, the 9 poison bone shattering is still in your dantian. If you can't open up a dual cultivation channel in advance, your dantian will explode. Hearing this, Yi Jioga understood. Zi Shang didn't sleep with her for free. He gave her benefits. Not only could this benefit greatly increase her cultivation, it could also strengthen her dantian and prevent the 9 poison bone shattering from spreading. Although the 9 poison bone shattering did not explode, Yi Jioga understood that it was a time bomb. Once her cultivation increased, it would explode. Tell me what to do. I will listen to you. Yi Jioga nodded seriously. This matter couldn't be underestimated. Now, strip and lie on the bed. Zi Shang said in a more serious tone. Chapter 212. I'll take it off. Yi Jioga was ready to risk everything this time. She grabbed the belt with both hands and started to take it off boldly. She was so open that Zi Shang felt a little scared. Could it be that he had gone too far and had driven this lass crazy instead? Thinking of this, Zi Shang couldn't help coughing and said seriously, since this is your first experience, it's fine if you don't take it off. Lie down. Yi Jioga didn't say much about Zi Shang's unfaithful attitude. She quickly lay down. Close your eyes and feel it. Zi Shang covered Yi Jioga's eyes with his slightly cold hands. In the darkness, Yi Jioga could only smell a faint fragrance coming from Zi Shang's body. Unlike the gentleness of a woman, this fragrance was even more invasive. It made one feel a little thirsty, as if they were bathing in fire. Yi Jioga resisted the urge to lick her lips and quickly corrected her attitude. Even if she wanted to be horny, it couldn't be now. This might be Zi Shang's conspiracy. She had to resist the temptation. Yi Jioga calmed down and closed her eyes to feel Zi Shang's next action. The pair of big hands first put 3 inches below her navel and gently rubbed it. The strength was moderate and very comfortable. Then slowly he pressed those acupuncture points regularly. It was sore and swollen, but after the sourness passed, it was comfortable. When Yi Jiuge was so comfortable that she almost fell asleep, Zi Shang's hands gradually came to the acupuncture point on her chest. Suddenly, a sharp pain rushed to her head. Yi Jiuge's body bounced up like a fish on the shore, but Zi Shang pressed her down hard. "Bear it." Zi Shang's voice was not flirting at all, but unprecedentedly serious. It was the first time that Yi Jiuge saw such an attitude from Zi Shang. She gritted her teeth and endured it. Zi Shang's hands were glowing with a faint black and purple light. He pinched Yi Jiuge's chest as if he was kneading dough. Yi Jiuge's face was a little twisted. She only felt that those acupuncture points were sore and swollen as if they were bitten by ants. It was so uncomfortable that her toes couldn't help curling up. Although the whole process didn't last long, Yi Jiuge broke out in a cold sweat and her back was wet. Her messy black hair was wet with sweat and stuck to her pale forehead. She looked very embarrassed and weak. "Are you all right?" Zi Shang didn't expect Yi Jiuge to have such a big reaction. "How long do I have to press this?" Yi Jiuge lay on the bed like a dead fish. Although the process was very painful, she had to admit that after Zi Shang rubbed her chest like this, her breathing became much smoother. "Your qi and blood are very stagnant. You have to clear them once a day. However, the first time will be more painful, but it will be fine in the future." Zi Shang didn't tease Yi Jiuge this time. Instead, he gently wiped her sweat with a soft towel. Yi Jiuge nodded. As long as it was useful, she would endure it no matter how painful it was. "Do you want to rest?" Zi Shang asked. "No need." Although she was very tired, now was not the time to rest. Alchemy City still had many things to do. Yi Jiuge took out the storage bag that he got from Lu Yunfei and took out a piece of human skin. It was Gong Hongyu's skin. Zi Shang immediately understood Yi Jiuge's intentions. "Are you going to give it to Gong Honglei?" "That's right. I have to give him a chance to take revenge." Yi Jiuge smiled meaningfully. She took the skin and went to find Gong Honglei. Gong Honglei had been healing in the alchemy pavilion. When he saw Yi Jiuge, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed, guilty, and remorseful. He stiffly greeted her. "Miss Yi, please sit." "Young Master Gong, there is no need to be so polite. I came today to give you something," Yi Jiuge said without beating around the bush. "What is it?" Gong Honglei frowned. He suddenly felt that something was strange. Yi Jiuge placed the blue bag in front of Gong Honglei. Gong Honglei's face paled. He seemed to have sensed something. His fingers that were opening the bag trembled violently. He couldn't untie the small knot for a long time. As a swordsman, shaking hands was something that should never happen to him. Yi Jiuge sighed, but he didn't help. He just sat to the side and quietly waited. In the end, Gong Honglei opened the bag. A white human skin lay quietly on the soft cloth. The head was facing him. There was a small black mole on the cheek. Gong Honglei felt as if he was struck by lightning. His heart ached and his eyes turned red. He couldn't help but cry. A man doesn't cry easily. It's only when he's deeply hurt. Gong Honglei's parents died early. Only he and his sister Gong Hongyu were left. At that time, they were still young and weren't valued by their family. Their early years were very difficult. It wasn't until he revealed his sword cultivation talent at the age of 10 and entered the Limitless Sword Pavilion as an inner disciple that his sister's status rose. Maybe it was because she was bullied in her early years, but his sister's personality became more and more arrogant. Because he loved his sister, he always protected her. He always felt that although his sister was a little willful, she wasn't an evil person. He didn't expect her to die a horrible death. "The dead are dead. Young Master Gong, please restrain your grief." Yi Jiuge knew that this sentence was very weak. However, he couldn't find any other words to comfort him. Gong Honglei quickly adjusted his mood. After he carefully put away his sister's human skin, he solemnly cupped his hands and bowed deeply. "Miss Yi, I was too reckless before. That's why I listened to the slanderous slander and misunderstood you. Please forgive me, Miss Yi." "No problem." Seeing that Gong Honglei was willing to admit his mistake, Yi Jiuge's impression of him slightly changed. "Thank you." Gong Honglei stood up and suddenly said, "I plan to take action tomorrow and go to the Su family in Shangjing. Yi Jiuge frowned. It seemed that Gong Honglei had already heard the news of Su Juanqing's escape. She pondered for a moment before shaking her head. Su Juanqing is sinister and cunning. I don't think he will return to the Su family at this time. If young Master Gong wants revenge, I have a suggestion. Miss Yi, please speak. Gong Honglei solemnly said. His Highness the Crown Prince is also one of the masterminds. Wan Daren was ordered to secretly bring him back to Shangjing. If young Master Gong directly goes to the Emperor to seek justice, I believe the Emperor won't dare to protect the Crown Prince. Yi Jiuge said it lightly, but if the Crown Prince heard it, he would definitely go crazy. This was his last chance of survival. All right, I'll go back to Shangjing with Wan Daren. Gong Honglei had long suspected the Crown Prince, so he agreed without hesitation. Young Master Gong is wise. I'm sure Miss Gong's spirit in heaven will feel gratified. It's getting late, goodbye. Yi Jiuge and Gong Honglei exchanged a few more pleasantries before leaving his courtyard. Then, she handed the spiritual roots of blood, flesh, and human skin in Lu Yunfei's Qiankuan bag to Li Zijuan. Just when Yi Jiuge was busy, Dongfang Yao secretly wrote a letter to Emperor Xian. Chapter 213. Dongfang Yao explained the ins and outs of the matter in the letter, and then strongly requested Emperor Xian to punish the little bastard, Dongfang Jianming. Finally, he mentioned that the Yunwei Si had sent a great expert called Yi Zi to protect Yi Jiuge. He also asked Emperor Xian Wu to rope in this great expert at all costs. Thunder Country's Shangjing, Pure Purity Palace. After reading Dongfang Yao's letter, Emperor Xian Wu sat motionlessly on his throne with a dark expression on his face. The chief eunuch, Li Fud, was waiting on the side. His heart was beating rapidly, and he didn't even dare to breathe heavily. Ever since Gong Honglei forced the Crown Prince back to the capital and demanded that they give the Gong family an explanation, the Emperor's face hadn't been clear for a single day. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside, as if someone was arguing outside. Li Fud panicked and wished he could go out and beat the guards and eunuchs to death. Didn't he know what time it was now? He actually dared to make such a fuss. Let's go out and take a look, said Emperor Xian Wu with his eyes closed. Yes. Li Fud wiped his cold sweat and went out. When he came back, his face was even paler. He said in a low voice, "The Empress is outside asking to see you. Didn't I tell her to stay in the Fengyi Palace? Why is she here?" Emperor Xian glanced at Li Fud and asked. "It's this old servant's arrangements that were not good. Your Majesty, please punish me." Li Fud immediately knelt down in fear and trepidation. Actually, it could not be said that his arrangements were unfavorable. Although the Crown Prince had been placed under house arrest, Emperor Xian did not dare to announce that he had colluded with an evil cultivator. Instead, he had been looking for a suitable accusation. He did not strip the Empress of her title, only placing her under house arrest in Fengyi Palace, having a few palace maids and eunuchs watch over her. Normally, these palace maids and eunuchs would be enough. Nevertheless, the Empress was a spiritualist, after all. She had been nourished by various spiritual pills all these years, so her cultivation base was still there. After the incident with the Crown Prince, she had been asking to see the Emperor. Seeing that no one was paying attention to her, she actually dashed out of the Fengyi Palace like a madman. Only when the palace maids and eunuchs chased after her did she let out an uproar. Take her back and feed her some spirit-dispersing pills. As for those trash from the Phoenix Ritual Palace, do as you see fit. Emperor Xian Wu closed his eyes again as if he did not know that the spirit-dispersing pill was fatal to a spiritualist. When Li Fud heard this, he knew that the Emperor really had no feelings for the Empress. He quickly went out to give the order, and the noise soon stopped. He also converted the other prizes prepared for the competition into silver and distributed them to the people who were accidentally injured by the evil cultivator. These were originally Yi Jiuge's unintentional actions, but she didn't expect them to bring her righteous reputation. Even the damaged image of Alchemy City was restored. Just as Yi Jiuge was preparing to return to the capital, Bai Songling sent a letter. Why did Elder Su suddenly disappear? Yi Jiuge looked at Zi Shang in confusion after reading the letter. Could it be that there was a problem with his demon energy seal? Zi Shang shook his head. Without him personally removing the seal, the old man wouldn't wake up. Could it be that Su Junqing saved his grandfather? Luo Tian asked from the side. Impossible. Elder Su is a burden right now. Su Junqing won't gain anything by taking him away, unless Su Junqing has other uses. Yi Jiuge's expression changed when he thought of this possibility. Luo Tian also thought of this possibility and asked in shock, "You mean Su Junqing wants to use his grandfather to cultivate?" Although Bloodthirst sect used human blood to cultivate, it was still rare to see beasts who used their own family members to cultivate. It's very possible. Yi Jiuge's heart sank. During this time, Su Junqing had searched for all kinds of spirit doctors, but none of them could cure the old man's strange illness. It was normal for him to want to use the old man as trash. Su Junqing has always been ruthless. It's not strange for him to do something like this. Yi Yu gritted his teeth. Back then, when his sister, Yi Yunji, was pregnant with Su Junqing's child, he was the one who personally gave it to the Bloodthirst sect. Send a letter back. We must find Su Junqing. We can't let him take Elder Su back to Bloodthirst sect, Yi Jiuge said seriously. Yi Jiuge said solemnly. If Bloodthirsty Ancestor ate Old Man Su, he might really succeed in leveling up. That would be very bad. Chapter 214. Song Ling and Ziyang have sent people to find him. But Shangjing's security is so tight that Su Junqing managed to find a loophole. It'll be harder to catch him now. Luo Tian wasn't optimistic. Yi Jiuge thought for a while and asked Luo Tian, "Can you raise a parasite that can track evil energy?" "I can't. Only the young master can raise parasites. But he's in seclusion right now. He'll probably come out in 2 days." Luo Tian shook his head. Bloodthirsty's blood essence wasn't that easy to refine. Wait for him here. When he comes out, ask him to raise the tracking parasite. Yi Jiuge quickly made up his mind and said, "We'll return to Shangjing first." Luo Tian nodded and decided to help the young master refine the blood essence faster. Blood Cloud Peak, 3,000 miles away from Shangjing. Bloodthirsty's ancestor was sleeping on a big redwood bed with his eyes closed. For beautiful and graceful blood slaves dressed in thin gauze surrounded him and served him. 2 beautiful and charming blood slaves gently massaged his legs. The other 2 older blood slaves were holding heavy feather fans to fan forefather Bloodthirsty. The blood slave on the left had a red mole between her eyebrows. She was Yi Yu's sister, Yi Yunji. Recently, many young and beautiful blood slaves had come. The ancestor quickly got tired of her. If Lu Yunfei hadn't asked for her skin before she left, she would have been sent to the blood cave to become a cauldron. Today, she had earned the right to fan and serve him because of her obedient behavior. The cave was silent except for the sound of the fans flapping in the wind. Bloodthirsty's ancestor closed his eyes. His wrinkled face looked like a shrunken orange. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, and a sinister light shot out from them. "Ancestor?" The 2 blood slaves massaging his legs lifted their heads in confusion. They didn't expect Bloodthirsty to kick them. With a loud bang, the 2 blood thralls were torn into pieces, flesh and blood splattering everywhere. Yi Yunji knelt on the ground immediately, not daring to say a word. "Ancestor, spare me," the other blood slave begged for mercy with tears on her face. The gauze on her body slid down, revealing a large area of her white skin. She looked very seductive. Bloodthirsty forefather didn't even look at her because he was so mad. His lifeblood essence had actually been refined by someone else. This was absolutely a great humiliation to him. At this time, the thin monkey-like man came in a panic and reported, "Old ancestor, it's not good. Senior brother Xiong's soul lamp has also extinguished." A bunch of trash. Bloodthirsty's forefather was so enraged that he slapped the charming blood slave to death. Yi Yunji crouched even lower and gave Skinny Monkey a pitiful look. The thin monkey-like man recognized that Yi Yunji wasn't in a good situation. He hurried to talk to Bloodthirsty's forefather. "Forefather, although senior brother Xiong is dead, Su Junqing's soul lamp is still lit." When Yi Yunji heard that Su Junqing was still alive, her eyes immediately emitted an extremely resentful light. She didn't expect that the heartless man was still alive. This was for the best. One day, she would dismember Su Juanqing's body into 1,000 pieces. Yi Yunji pressed her forehead to the ground and used all her strength to suppress her excitement. Everyone else is dead, only he is still alive. He is quite powerful. As expected, Bloodthirsty's forefather shifted his attention. He squinted and asked, "Are there any of our people in Shangjing?" "Forefather, there is one in the Yi mansion and 2 in the palace," the thin monkey-like man answered respectfully. "How come there are only a few people? What can 3 accomplish?" Bloodthirsty's forefather frowned. The wrinkles between his brows were so deep that they looked like they were carved by a knife. "Forefather, you are wise. Right now, the people in Shangjing are all experienced. We can use them," the thin monkey-like man said carefully. "Okay," Bloodthirsty's forefather nodded and ordered, "Send someone to Shangjing. Tell them to investigate the truth. Be especially careful of that kid Su Juanqing." Bloodthirsty's forefather paused and then quickly changed his words. "No, if you see him, bring him back immediately. I want to interrogate him personally." "Yes," the thin monkey-like man exhaled in relief. This time, 3 people died in this mission. All of them were experts of the sect. Right now, everyone in the sect was in danger. No one dared to make a sound as they were afraid of being sent out. Fortunately, the forefather didn't say anything. "All of you can leave." Bloodthirsty's forefather waved his hand tiredly. When the thin monkey-like man bowed and retreated, he imperceptibly waved his hand at Yi Yunji. Yi Yunji also quietly retreated with the thin monkey-like man. After leaving the forefather's cave mansion, the thin monkey-like man finally exhaled in relief. He wiped his sweat and said to Yi Yunji with relief, "I thought that arranging for you to fan the forefather would be a good job. I didn't think that this would be a disaster. You're lucky." "Thank you, brother Thin Monkey. Otherwise, I would have died today." Yi Yunji's pretty face was full of gratitude. "There's no need to thank me between us." The thin monkey-like man lowered his voice. The skinny monkey-like man lowered his voice and said, "The sect isn't peaceful right now, so be careful during this period of time. Stay within the Flower Palace and try your best not to come out. I'll help you clear the way, and I won't make you serve the ancestor in the near future." "I will listen to you, brother Thin Monkey." Yi Yunji's voice was even softer. Her voice was very pleasant. It wasn't sweet or sticky, but it was clear and cold. Coupled with her gentle expression, it made people's hearts itch. "When I become a rank 2 blood guard, I will ask the forefather for a favor. I will ask him to reward you to me. At that time, you won't have to be afraid anymore." The thin monkey-like man looked at Yi Yunji's thin face with heartache and said softly, "Before that, you have to endure it." "As long as I'm not sent to the blood cave, I can endure anything." Yi Yunji's pretty face flashed with fear. Her fragile appearance was even more pitiful. "Don't worry, I won't let you be sent to that filthy blood cave." The thin monkey-like man saw that the little beauty was still scared, so he lowered his voice and said, "The forefather's plan to kill Grandmaster Dongfang has failed. He's not in the mood to do that. Don't worry." "Really?" Yi Yunji blinked her big eyes and looked at the thin monkey-like man for help. "Of course it's true. Old Jiang, Old Xiong, and Lu Yunfei failed their mission and died in Alchemy City. The Spiritualist Union will definitely come to deal with us. But don't worry, as long as the forefather is here, no one will want to go near Blood Cloud Peak." The thin monkey-like man looked left and right before taking out a blood pill from his belt and putting it in Yi Yunji's hand. He said softly, "Take this blood pill in secret. Don't let anyone find out. Alright, I won't say any more. Hurry back to Flower Palace. Brother Thin Monkey, you must be careful too. Don't make me worry." Yi Yunji said reluctantly. "Don't worry, I will definitely be fine." The thin monkey-like man kept urging Yi Yunji to leave. He looked at Yi Yunji's graceful back and revealed a silly smile. He had been by the forefather's side for so many years and had seen many beautiful blood thralls. However, Yi Yunji was the only one that made him feel different. He liked Yi Yunji's voice the most when she told him to be careful. It would make his heart feel warm. In order to keep this feeling, he had to cultivate harder. He had to save Yi Yunji before the forefather destroyed her. Chapter 215. bloodthirsty sect's dark passageways had only 2 oil lamps at the top of the cave at the corner, flickering with a dim light. Yi Yunji tried her best to hide in the shadows and silently walked toward 100 Flower Palace. After passing through a passageway, she met a few bloodthirsty sect disciples who had just returned from training. All of them looked at her curvaceous body under the red chiffon with lewd and explicit eyes. Yi Yunji turned a blind eye to this and continued walking forward. The forefather was very protective of his food. The blood slaves of 100 Flower Palace all had blood soul flowers. The fragrance of this blood soul flower was very special and easy to stick to. Anyone who dared to touch the forefather's blood slaves would be stained with the smell of the blood soul flower and die a horrible death. However, the forefather always liked the new and hated the old. After he was tired of playing, he would pull out the blood soul flower and throw the dead blood slaves into the blood cave for others to enjoy. The disciples had coveted Yi Yunji for a long time and laughed. This blood slave has been with the forefather for a long time, she must be very good in bed. The forefather got tired of her a long time ago. If he didn't promise to give her skin to Lu Yunfei, she would have been sent to the blood cave long ago. Little beauty, I advise you to learn how to sleep with 100 men in one night. Us brothers can't wait. 100 men isn't enough. I heard someone brought a blood beast and wants to merge with it to taste her. Fuck, the women they've played with are all rotten. What are we going to do? Don't worry, they're definitely staying behind to reserve the place. That's more like it. Yi Yunji ignored the malicious words of the bloodthirsty sect disciples and quickened her pace back to 100 Flower Palace. The 100 Flowers Palace sounded very beautiful, but it was actually just a slightly larger cave. Long and narrow chambers were chiseled on top and hung a broken curtain to form their residence. Hearing the sound of Yi Yunji's return, pale faces popped out from behind the broken curtain of the small chamber. The blood slaves here were all women with spirit energy. Bloodthirsty sect's forefather had planted blood soul flowers on them, and all of their spirit energy had melted into their blood. This blood soul flower was very magical. It would form a protective light around their bodies, making them invulnerable to weapons and poisons. It was impossible for them to commit suicide. Bloodthirsty sect's forefather was extremely cruel to those who wanted to commit suicide. The new blood slaves had seen it a few times and no longer wanted to commit suicide. They could only silently wait for death. Yi Yunji was the oldest and lived in the highest chamber. Following the rope that had fallen from the side, she stepped on the steps that were carved out of the cave wall and climbed up to her own cave. The chamber was very narrow and could only allow one person to turn around. Apart from a thin bedding, there was nothing else inside. She had nothing inside except for a thin mattress. Of the room, after making sure that no one was paying attention, she took out the blood pill that Skinny Monkey had given her. This blood pill was a pill unique to the bloodthirsty sect. It was refined using various medicinal herbs mixed with blood essence, and it could increase the cultivation of the bloodthirsty sect disciples. Forefather Bloodthirsty often sucked the blood of the blood slaves. After a long time, their faces became dry and dull. At this moment, they weren't far from the blood cave. Skinny sect couldn't save her, so he thought of this method. He wanted her to take a blood pill to preserve her appearance. At least, she wouldn't be thrown out by the forefather. Skinny sect didn't expect that Yi Yunji's Yi family cultivation method was a dark art. This blood pill could not only preserve her appearance, but also allow her to steal a lot of spirit energy from the blood soul flowers. Yi Yunji started to cultivate after swallowing the blood pill. Rays of light started from her dantian and grew stronger after passing through several large meridians. Finally, they entered the inside of her right arm and stopped moving. After Yi Yunji finished cultivating, she gently rubbed the inside of her right arm. There was a lot of light gathered there, enough for her to activate the Yi family's concealment technique and leave. But she wasn't in a hurry. She had learned about the internal routes of Blood Cloud Peak through Skinny Sect. Now, she just had to wait for the right opportunity. If possible, she hoped to teach Bloodthirsty Sect a painful lesson for the hardships she had suffered in the past few days. There was only one chance. She had to be more patient. Yi Yunji adjusted her breathing and continued to meditate. Thunder Country's Shangjing, East Main Street 19, an imposing mansion. Under the command of Mother Qing, the capital magistrate's soldiers were hanging the plaque Yi Mansion, bestowed by the emperor. It was such a good day, but Yi Jiuge was in seclusion with Zishang. Although it was said to be seclusion, it was actually to avoid the warm hospitality of the great clans and the emperor. When Master Yun sent a top expert to guard Yi Jiuge, the news had already spread throughout Thunder Country. Everyone was interested in this expert. They also wanted to build a good relationship with Yi Jiuge, this independent spirit alchemist with a bright future. Invitations flew over like snowflakes. Even noble consort Shi and Dongfang Ke wanted to meet her in private. It was said that Emperor Xianwu had even drafted an imperial edict to summon her to the palace at any time. If Zishang was really a guard sent by his grandfather, Yi Jiuge could bring him out for a walk. But this guy was a demon. A shameless demon that complained every day about not having enough demon energy and wanted to be kissed and touched. Yi Jiuge didn't have the confidence to bring this guy out for a walk, much less bring him into the palace. There were still many experts in Shangjing. If she was accidentally seen through, then all her previous efforts would be wasted. So Yi Jiuge decided to go all out. She used the excuse that she had a great enlightenment in cultivation to go into seclusion to break through. But this wasn't entirely an excuse. After experiencing a few traps in Alchemy City, she was fully aware that her martial strength wasn't enough. If Zishang hadn't woken up in time to kill Xiong Yunhu, everyone in the Alchemy Pavilion would have died. During this time, Zishang had been massaging her meridians. It really deepened her spirit energy and strengthened the white bone flame. So Zishang suggested that she use the white bone flame to nourish the Thunder Snake illusionary whip so that it could fuse better with the bone essence it obtained from the white bone cave. While Yi Jiuge was in seclusion, the situation in Shangjing was turbulent. Because of Yi Jiuge's bad conduct, the crown prince was demoted to a commoner. It was said that he died not long after. The empress missed the crown prince too much. In her sorrow and despair, she actually committed suicide to follow him. A country couldn't be without a ruler. The crown prince was the same. So Emperor Xianwu announced to the world that Dongfang Ke would be the new crown prince and enter the East Palace. Originally, Emperor Xianwu wanted to make imperial consort Shi the empress. Unexpectedly, imperial consort Shi declined. Instead, she suggested that Dongfang Ke's birth mother, imperial noble consort by Linglong, be posthumously named the benevolent empress. Emperor Xianwu agreed. After Bai Linglong was posthumously named the benevolent empress, imperial noble consort, she was promoted to imperial noble consort. This news spread throughout the entire Thunder Country. Even though Yi Jiuge was in seclusion, she still heard about it. All of this was within her expectations. The crown prince and empress had brought about their own destruction. They could have cooperated with anyone, but they actually cooperated with evil cultivators. What she was worried about now was that she couldn't always be in seclusion. She had to think of a way to deal with those people who were inquiring about Zishang. Chapter 216. Yi Jiuge's table was piled up like a hill of invitations, but she didn't look at them. After thinking for a while, she had made a decision to go out and see imperial concubine Shi first. No, now she should call her imperial concubine Shi. Yi Jiuge felt that as a woman, it was better to go to see imperial concubine Shi first than to see Xianwu emperor directly. However, imperial concubine Shi was very popular now. She didn't know if there was any change compared to before. After Yi Jiuge decided, she went to the alchemy room to refine a bottle of beauty pills and prepared to go out. After being in seclusion for so many days, I can finally go out. Zishang stretched his body. Yi Jiuge was in seclusion, so he, as her personal guard, naturally had to come in and guide her. After going out, be honest and don't flirt with me. Yi Jiuge had a headache when she saw Zishang's evil appearance. She had suggested Zishang to change to an ordinary face before, but he didn't. Hee, how can those common flowers enter this sovereign's eyes? This sovereign loves you. Zishang hugged Yi Jiuge and kissed her on the face. After going out, be more respectful. Yi Jiuge looked indifferent and let him kiss her without moving. During this time, she had figured out a way to deal with Zishang. As long as she was ruthless, cold, and put down her bottom line, Zishang would restrain himself. Yes. Sure enough, when Zishang saw Yi Jiuge's indifferent face, he immediately became honest. Yi Jiuge opened the door and went out. She saw Pearl guarding outside. These days, Yu Dai and Pearl had been guarding outside, waiting for Yi Jiuge's orders. Has the plaque given by the emperor been hung up? What happened in the mansion recently? Yi Jiuge asked as she walked. Mother Qing has asked the people of the governor's office to hang it up. Pearl followed Yi Jiuge and reported what happened in the mansion. They left Yi Mansion to set up their own house. There were only maids and old women from Purple Forest Garden in the mansion. However, Yi Jiuge announced that she would go into seclusion at this time. Fortunately, Mother Qing had been in contact with the old servants of the Yun family these years. Relying on those old servants, Yi Mansion was finally supported. Even when the emperor sent someone to deliver the imperial plaque, it was Mother Qing who braced herself to receive it. Congratulations, young miss, for successfully advancing. A white-haired, serious-looking old man respectfully bowed to Yi Jiuge. This was also an old man from the Yun residence, Hu Zhenwei. Back then, Yun Tianwei had chosen this position for Yun Jiaojiao. His cultivation was profound and he was only one step away from becoming a spirit master. After Yun Jiaojiao died, Hu Zhenwei was sent out by Yi Yuxuan to carry out a mission. He didn't expect this mission to be a trap set up by his enemies. After he was plotted against, his cultivation base plummeted. Disheartened, he concealed his identity and lived in seclusion in the countryside. It was Mother Qing who personally picked him up. After Yi Jiuge healed his internal injuries and restored his cultivation, he appointed him as the Yi residence's chief steward. After Yi Jiuge went into seclusion, the Yi family was able to be so peaceful, and it was all thanks to Elder Hua. Old Hua, please help me call Mother Qing, I have something to ask her. Yi Jiuge politely ordered. I'll go now. Elder Hua quickly brought Mother Qing over. Has there been any movement from the Yi family recently? Yi Jiuge picked up the teacup and took a sip. Replying to eldest miss, after the Su family fell, the master did not like Su Yufeng and her mother very much. Some time ago, he used the excuse of sending Yi Shanshan to learn martial arts, but in fact, he gave her to the Danyang sect's Ling Yun ancestor as a concubine in exchange for a rank 5 spirit herb, purple cloud root. Mother Qing said with disdain. I remember that Ling Yun ancestor is already more than 200 years old. Yi Jiuge was a little surprised. Yi Shanshan was only 17 years old. It was too exaggerated to be a concubine for an old man who was her grandfather's age. Don't you know the master's temper? There's nothing he can't do. Mother Qing sneered, her face full of disdain. Although she didn't like Yi Shanshan, a good virgin was taken by her own father to exchange for a spirit herb. This kind of behavior was despicable. Yi Jiuge also sighed. Thinking about Yi Shanshan's arrogant and rude appearance, now she had to serve an old man. It was really not an ordinary kind of miserable. However, this was also what she deserved. Yi Jiuge would not sympathize with her, so he changed the topic. How is fourth sister now? She was most concerned about this sister. Fourth miss is now very favored by the master, but she is a little too close to seventh concubine. When Mother Qing said this, she suddenly frowned. Keep an eye on seventh concubine. If she has any unusual movements, immediately report to me. When she was in the Yi Mansion, she had some doubts about the relationship between seventh concubine and the empress. Unfortunately, she did not find any evidence. Now that the empress had fallen, seventh concubine suddenly approached Yi Rui. Maybe she had some plans. Eldest miss, rest assured. This old servant has already sent people to keep an eye on her. Mother Qing did not have any good impression of seventh concubine. She had already arranged for people to keep an eye on her. Is there anything else in the mansion? Yi Jiuge asked again. She had just established her own family and immediately went into seclusion. Mother Qing was managing the mansion from top to bottom. There were still many things that she had not figured out. Our mansion has a small population, so there is no big problem. It is just that there are people coming to visit the mansion every day. Eldest miss, you can't just hide like this. Mother Qing said with a bitter face. In the past, she had always hoped that eldest Miss could continue the glory of the Yun family and become the most famous noble lady in Shangjing. Now that she had achieved her goal, she was worried again. With so many people, it would be difficult to meet anyone. In the end, the one who was tired was her eldest Miss. Don't worry about those people. I am going to the palace to see Imperial Concubine Shi tomorrow. Help me wrap up this bottle of beauty pills. Yi Jioge took out a delicate white jade bottle from his Jianquan bag. Mother Qing took the white jade bottle and asked hesitantly, "Do you need to send a message to the palace?" It didn't seem very good to enter the palace without informing them. No need, so as not to cause more trouble. Yi Jioge shook his head. She had the palace token left by Imperial Concubine Shi in her hand. She could enter at any time. Then tomorrow, this old servant will accompany you, Mother Qing said and went to make arrangements. Yi Jioge rested for the night. The next morning, she took Mother Qing to the palace in a carriage to see the Imperial Concubine. The guard captain looked at her palace token and secretly looked at her a few times. He did not ask much and let her in. If it was in the past, even with this palace token, there would be a lot of questioning. But now, Yi Jioge had become famous because of the incident in Alchemy City. The guards in the palace recognized her and did not dare to offend her. Yi Jioge brought Mother Qing to Splendid Palace. From afar, she saw Aunt Hong Xiu waiting at the door. She smiled and greeted, "Eldest Miss, you didn't tell us in advance that you were going to enter the palace." This servant was shocked when I received the news. Yi Jioge repeated the lie from before, then pretended to sigh in pity and said, "It's a pity that this expert's personality is too hard to figure out. He usually appears and disappears unpredictably. If he doesn't want to appear, I won't be able to find him." Yi Jioge's words were meant to stop those people from thinking of meeting Zishang. In any case, Zishang was a great expert, and he could not command him. If he wanted to see Zishang, he could go and find him himself. When noble consort Shi heard Yi Jioge's words, an expression of hesitation appeared on her face. Yi Jioge looked at her doubtfully. The expression on noble consort Shi's face changed again and again. Finally, she hardened her heart and said, "I've heard a rumor about Master Yun before, but I don't know if it's true or false. Whether it's true or false, please tell me directly." Yi Jioge sat up straight, showing that she took this matter very seriously. "You also know that I've been inquiring about Master Yun's whereabouts before. Later, I accidentally heard a news that Master Yun had been secretly killed because of a treasure map." After noble consort Shi finished speaking, she looked at Yi Jioge worriedly. Yi Jioge's face immediately turned pale. This expression was half real and half fake. She had suspected that the treasure map was related to her grandfather. Now, noble consort Shi's words were just to help her confirm it. But she didn't expect that her grandfather had been killed. Speaking of which, when she first returned from the 10,000 Zhang abyss, Yi Yuxuan's attitude was very strange, as if he had already determined that her grandfather was gone. Yi Jioge closed her eyes hard. When she opened them again, she had already calmed down. She asked noble consort Shi, "Where did you hear this rumor?" "It's not convenient to say. The most important thing right now is to find out whether the identity of that great expert is true or false." Noble consort Shi avoided Yi Jioge's gaze. She couldn't tell Yi Jioge that she had eavesdropped on this matter from Xianwu Emperor. Although she used to hate Xianwu Emperor, with the death of the Empress and Dongfang Ke moving into the East Palace, her hatred gradually faded. No matter what, her and Ke's future depended on this man. No matter how much she hated him, she couldn't deal with him. She only told this news to Yi Jioge because of their past relationship. "I understand. Thank you for telling me, Your Highness." Yi Jioge nodded. She knew that she was in big trouble this time. Her grandfather's disappearance was related to the treasure map. Now that Zishang had appeared under his name, didn't it mean that Zishang knew the whereabouts of the treasure map? Those who wanted the treasure map would probably swarm over. However, this was also an opportunity. Those who knew that her grandfather was related to the treasure map would definitely know the truth of her grandfather's disappearance. Or rather, the truth of her grandfather's death. Thinking of this, Yi Jioga's heart was in a mess. He didn't want to stay any longer and got up to leave. Noble consort, she didn't try to keep him. She only said, "Be careful in the future. Your Highness, Jioga will remember your good intentions." Yi Jioga felt that it was the right decision to spend so much effort to save noble consort Shi. Noble consort, she smiled and said meaningfully, "You should thank her instead of me. He's always been thinking about you." The reason she was willing to tell this secret was related to Dongfang K's tacit consent. "Don't worry, Your Highness. I've always remembered His Highness Prince Dongling's matter. I've already found a way to cure him of the remaining poison," Yi Jioga promised solemnly. Although the poisonous earth dragon goo had cured most of the poison in Dongfang K's body, the most important part hadn't been completely cured. When Junichen returned, he could use his natal goo to cure Dongfang K completely. Noble consort, she didn't expect Yi Jioga to be so straightforward and not understand the meaning behind her words. She smiled helplessly, but in her heart, she understood that Killer and Yi Jioga probably weren't fated to be together. Noble consort, she summoned Aunt Hongxiu and had her send Yi Jioga out of the palace. When he passed by the imperial garden, he saw Dongfang K standing under a red flower tree in the distance. He wore a golden crown with 7 pearls on his head and a deep purple robe embroidered with a 5-clawed golden dragon. His handsome face was still gloomy, but when he saw Yi Jioga walk over, his eyes couldn't help but light up. "Your Highness, why are you here?" Yi Jioga asked in surprise. "I've been waiting for you here." Dongfang K looked at Yi Jioga with an especially gentle gaze. Yi Jioga didn't notice and asked straightforwardly, "What instructions does Your Highness have?" Chapter 218. Did Her Highness tell you about the treasure map and your grandfather? Dongfang K's gaze was somewhat disappointed, but he pretended to be nonchalant. "She did," Yi Jioga nodded. "You have to be careful, there are many people who want the treasure map. Don't easily trust anyone, especially those experts." Dongfang K's words were just short of saying that Zi Shang's identity was fake. "I know, thank you for your concern, Your Highness." Yi Jioga didn't explain any further. She knew Zi Shang's origins better than anyone. He definitely wasn't a swindler. At this moment, Zi Shang suddenly said unhappily, "Is this brat looking to die?" Although he was already in human form, it wasn't appropriate for him to follow Yi Jioga to the harem, so he hid in the imprint. He hadn't expected to be caught red-handed. "Don't do anything rash," Yi Jioga hurriedly said. Actually, she could somewhat sense Dongfang K's intentions, but she didn't take it to heart. Putting aside the fact that Zi Shang was a domineering obstacle, even without him, it was impossible for her and Dongfang K to be together. Because Dongfang K wasn't her cup of tea. Dongfang K didn't know that Yi Jioga was talking to Zi Shang in private. He even said sincerely to Yi Jioga, "No matter what happens, come find me if you need anything. I will always stand behind you." This was already equivalent to a confession. "Thank you, I will find Your Highness if I need anything. It's getting late, farewell." Yi Jioga clearly didn't take Dongfang K's words to heart. Since it was impossible, he shouldn't give Dongfang K any hope. Thus, Yi Jioga straightforwardly left. Dongfang K looked at Yi Jioga's departing figure for a long time before sighing softly. Although he had already guessed that Yi Jioga had no interest in him, he was still a bit disappointed that Yi Jioga had left so decisively. "Your Highness." Aunt Hongxiu's face was full of worry. Dongfang K quickly composed himself and instructed Hongxiu, "Pass down the order to ensure Yi Jioga's safety." Although Yi Jioga had rejected him, he still didn't want to see anything happen to her. Yi Jioga returned to the residence and summoned Zi Shang. "Come out and help me." Zi Shang quickly appeared from the mark and landed in front of Yi Jioga. He asked with a grin, "Say it? Even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or go through a sea of flames, I won't hesitate." He was very satisfied with Yi Jioga's attitude when she rejected him. "I'm going to look for Yi Yuxuan tonight." Yi Jioga's face sank. Although she had long guessed that her grandfather's disappearance was related to Yi Yuxuan, no matter how much of a scumbag Yi Yuxuan was, he was still her biological father. She didn't want to take things too far until the very end. But now that it was related to his grandfather's safety, he had no choice but to go. However, if he wanted to get information from Yi Yuxuan, he would need Zi Shang's help. No problem. Zi Shang nodded without hesitation. The night sky hung high, the stars were lonely, and the moon was as cool as water. Yi Yuxuan was currently in his room drowning his sorrows in alcohol. His usually elegant figure seemed to be in dire straits. He didn't know what he had done wrong to end up like this. He had thought that breaking off the father-daughter relationship with Yi Jioge would be a quick move, and he would be able to get rid of this annoying evil girl. However, no one expected Yi Jioge to turn the tables in the face of adversity and become the hero against the evil cultivators. Meanwhile, he had become a joke. Even Emperor Xianwu was making matters worse by giving Yi Jioge a new plaque. This was clearly encouraging her to go against him. The more Yi Yuxuan thought about it, the more annoyed he became. He couldn't help but drink another mouthful of alcohol. At this time, Song Bai quietly walked in and carefully reported, "Master, Madam said that she's not feeling well and wants to invite you over to take a look. If you're not feeling well, go find a doctor. Don't bother me with everything." Yi Yuxuan was already a bit drunk and roared with a red face. "The doctor said that Madam is depressed and needs to relax." Song Bai said with a bitter face. Ever since second young miss was sent away by Master, Madam had been crying all day. However, Master seemed to hate her to the extreme and hadn't even come to see her for a long time. They, the servants, were stuck in the middle and were bullied on both sides. "Tell her that if anything happens to the child in her stomach, she won't be able to live," Yi Yuxuan said fiercely. If it wasn't for the unborn child, he would have written a divorce letter and told Su Yufeng to scram a long time ago. Song Bai didn't expect Master to be so heartless towards Madam. His heart pounded and he didn't dare to say anything else. He hurriedly left. Yi Yuxuan still hadn't vented his anger. He picked up his wine cup and smashed it against the wall. He angrily shouted, "Slut, stupid woman." Back then, he thought Su Yufeng was a smart person. He didn't expect her to be even more stupid than a pig. "If she's a stupid woman, then aren't you even more stupid?" A cold voice rang out. "Who is it?" Yi Yuxuan fiercely looked around and saw a slim figure wearing a sky-blue dress standing by the mahogany window. Her black hair was simply tied into a snake bun with only a pearl hairpin. A few strands of hair fell to the side of her fair cheeks. Her eyebrows were black and her eyes were like peach blossoms. Her facial features were exquisite and overflowing with spiritual energy. She was like a fairy that had fallen to the mortal world. "Jiao Jiao!" The drunk Yi Yuxuan cried out. "You don't have the right to call me that," Yi Jioge coldly replied. Ever since she found her mother's life-saving pill in the secret compartment of the study, she knew that this scumbag of a father's love for her mother was fake. "It's you." Yi Yuxuan's muddled mind finally woke up. The girl in front of him wasn't his first wife, Yun Jiao Jiao. She was clearly the evil girl, Yi Jioge. "What are you doing here?" Yi Yuxuan shouted fiercely. He already knew that Yi Jioge wouldn't come back. The current situation clearly showed that she didn't come with good intentions. "Let me ask you, does grandfather's disappearance have anything to do with you?" Yi Jioge didn't bother being polite with his scumbag father and directly asked. "What nonsense are you talking about? What does your grandfather's disappearance have to do with me?" Yi Yuxuan raised his voice and glared fiercely at Yi Jioge like an enraged bull. However, Yi Jioge could see the weakness in his heart and coldly stared back at him. Cold sweat gradually appeared on Yi Yuxuan's forehead. That face that resembled Yun Jiao Jiao gave him incomparably great pressure. His throat moved, and he couldn't help but guiltily look away. Suddenly, he noticed that there were 3 shadows on the dimly lit ground. The extra shadow was standing beside Yi Jioge. Yi Yuxuan abruptly looked up, but there was nothing beside Yi Jioge. No, there must be something fishy going on. An extremely beautiful face flashed through Yi Yuxuan's mind, and his heart immediately trembled. It must be that expert called Yi Zi beside Yi Jioge. Yi Yuxuan was just about to question Yi Jioge when he realized in horror that the shadow suddenly pounced towards him. The next moment, he froze on the spot, unable to move. Chapter 219. A pair of cold purple vertical pupils appeared in front of Yi Yuxuan. Like a bottomless well, They surged and flowed in a strange and extraordinary manner. Then, the purple vertical pupils split into 4 and kept spinning like a dazzling kaleidoscope. Yi Yuxuan's eyes also spun like mosquito coils, his expression becoming more and more lifeless. All right. Zi Shang retreated to Yi Jioga's side, indicating that she could ask questions. Did you cause the Yunwei Sea? Yi Jioga stared at Yi Yuxuan's eyes and asked. No, I was just instructed by someone back then. Yi Yuxuan honestly explained everything with a wooden face. Back then, as a son-in-law, he was looked down upon everywhere and had always been resentful. Later, a masked man came and gave him a poison pill, asking him to find a chance to give it to the Yunwei Sea. At first, he was very hesitant and afraid, but as his ambition grew, his desire to take over the Yun family became more and more insane. In the end, he used Yun Jiaojiao to poison the Yunwei Sea. After being poisoned, the Yunwei Sea disappeared and was never heard from again. After the weak Yun Jiaojiao fell ill, he quietly changed the dynasty of the Yun family to the Yi family. Later, Yun Jiaojiao seemed to have discovered something and raised doubts, even wanting to take back the Yun family's things. Seeing this, Yi Yuxuan immediately panicked. He didn't dare to harm Yun Jiaojiao, so he only secretly replaced the supreme-grade pills she took with substandard ones. Just like that, he watched his wife die of illness. Because of these shameful things, he disliked Yi Jioga, who carried the Yun family's blood. It was as if Yi Jioga's death could cover up his ugly crimes. After Yi Yuxuan finished explaining, he continued to stand where he was, stupefied. The room was as quiet as a grave. Kill him? Zi Shang asked Yi Jioga. For a moment, Yi Jioga really wanted to kill Yi Yuxuan, this heartless scumbag of a father. But suddenly, Yi Rui's petite figure appeared in his mind. Yi Yuxuan was also Yi Rui's father. Although he was scumbag to the fifth aunt, he was still good to his talented daughter. Yi Rui was still young. Having a pill Dao master as a father would be more helpful to her future. Just give him the spirit-dispersing pill, Yi Jioga said coldly. To a spiritualist, the gradual disappearance of one's cultivation base was the most painful. By the time Yi Yuxuan became trash, Yi Rui would have grown up. Let this scum of a father live in pain forever. That was the ending he deserved. It's nothing. Zi Shang took out a bottle of spirit-dispersing pills, wrapped them with his demonic energy, and buried them in several major acupoints on Yi Yuxuan's body. In this way, Yi Yuxuan's early cultivation wouldn't change much, but when he discovered it, it would be too late. Let's go. Yi Jioga no longer looked at his father and left with Zi Shang. The journey back was a little dull. Yi Jioga's heart was heavy. He didn't want to say anything. At this moment, Zi Shang suddenly said, Your grandfather might not be dead. You don't have to comfort me. Yi Jioga stared straight ahead without turning his head. According to Yi Yuxuan, the poison pill's effects were fierce, and the poisonous gas was overbearing. Grandfather was probably dead. I'm not comforting you. If your grandfather is really dead, his corpse should have appeared, not gone missing. Maybe he's still looking for a way to cure the poison and waiting for you to find him, Zi Shang said seriously. You're right. Grandfather must be waiting for me. Yi Jioga's fighting spirit was instantly ignited. Not only did she want to save her grandfather, but she also wanted to find the black-clothed man who plotted against her grandfather. Yi Jioga thought about it, and the only clue she had was the treasure map. She returned to the mansion and immediately took out the treasure map. Currently, she only had 1.5. She got one from the crown prince. Yi Yu gave her half, and Yi Yunji still had the other half. Yi Jioga had a feeling that she might be able to find some clues about her grandfather's disappearance from the bloodthirsty ancestor. After all, the bloodthirsty sect was very good at poison pills. After Yi Jioga decided to go to the Blood Cloud Peak to deal with the bloodthirsty ancestor, she sent an invitation to Bai Songling and Wan Ziang, inviting them over for a chat. The two had long wanted to meet Yi Jioga and immediately rushed over after receiving the message. Yi Jioga received them in the hall. The three of them greeted each other and exchanged some pleasantries. Yi Jioga then pretended to be chatting and asked Bai Songling, Brother Bai, I heard that Jun Yichen has already refined the tracking goo. Did you guys find Su Junqing? While Yi Jioga was in seclusion, Jun Yichen, Luo Tian, and Yi Yu had been helping Bai Songling and Wan Ziang to search for Su Junqing, and the tracking goo was successfully refined. No, Jun Yichen said that Su Junqing has escaped to the Blood Cloud Peak. Bai Songling said gloomily. They had set up many traps, but Su Junqing still escaped. It was really depressing. What did the Spiritualist Alliance say? Did they let the bloodthirsty sect's evil cultivators be arrogant? Yi Jioga asked. This was what she was most concerned about. Otherwise, she, Yi Yu, and the others did not have the confidence to go to the Blood Cloud Peak to save Yunji. The Spiritualist Alliance is still discussing, but Master Dongfang personally went to the Spiritualist Alliance to offer a reward. He said that if anyone can find the Blood Lotus and kill the bloodthirsty ancestor, he is willing to exchange a master-building pill. Bai Songling revealed a big piece of news. Master Dongfang actually has a master-building pill? Yi Jioga was shocked. The master-building pill could increase the chances of becoming a spirit master. Because the spiritual energy was getting sparser and the age of the spiritual herbs was getting lower, it was hard to refine the master-building pill, which made it harder to become a spirit master. There were less than 10 spirit masters in the whole Thunder Country, and countless people were stuck at the advanced spirit master level. Although Yi Jioga's cultivation was still a distance away from that of a spirit master, it would not be wrong to get it. Thinking of this, she was a little tempted. Yes, many spirit masters are fighting to sign up, and there are many core disciples of famous righteous sections. It is said that hundreds of people have signed up. The Alliance is a little worried, not knowing who to send to lead the team. After all, the bloodthirsty ancestor is not easy to deal with. Bai Songling said emotionally. This master-building pill was Master Dongfang's trump card. If he was not in a hurry to use the Blood Lotus to recover his cultivation, he would not have taken it out. I hope the Alliance can send more experts. That will be more beneficial to us. Although Yi Jioga was tempted by the master-building pill, she still remembered that her most important mission was to rescue Yi Yunji and find clues about her grandfather's disappearance. First Miss is also going to the Blood Cloud Peak to kill the bloodthirsty sect? Bai Songling asked in surprise. The Blood Cloud Peak was thousands of miles away from Thunder Country. The journey there would definitely be dangerous. After all, the bloodthirsty ancestor would not be unprepared. Seeing that it was getting late, they got up at the same time and said, "We still have work to do. Goodbye." Both of them were now promoted. Bai Songling was transferred to the Imperial Army as a commander, and Wan Ziang was promoted to the Minister of Justice. The two of them were extremely busy every day. Today, they finally managed to squeeze out some time to see Yi Jioga, so they had to leave after discussing some matters. "I'll send you off." Yi Jioga stood up. "It's just a few steps. There's no need to send me off. If you continue to be so polite, I won't come again," Bai Songling said jokingly. "All right, let Elder Hua send you off." As an advanced spiritualist, Elder Hua could completely represent Yi Jioga. "This way, please." Elder Hua came forward in time and personally sent the two of them off. The hall was empty in the blink of an eye. Yi Jio returned to his seat and picked up a teacup to moisten his throat. Just as he was about to speak to Zishang, he suddenly raised his hand and flicked a black-purple spirit light toward the roof. "Who's there?" Yi Jioga immediately looked up. He saw Yi Yu, Luo Tian, and Jun Yichen fall from the roof beam like dumplings. "What the hell are you doing?" Yi Jioga put down his teacup and looked at Jun Yichen with a puzzled expression. "I don't want to run into that chatterbox Bai Songling, so I wanted to hide on the roof." Jun Yichen looked at Zishang with some fear. Ever since he absorbed the drop of blood essence from the bloodthirsty patriarch, his cultivation had greatly improved. He thought he could give Yi Jioga a scare, but he didn't expect to be knocked down as soon as he touched the roof. This devilishly handsome man was indeed an expert. His accurate judgment was too terrifying. No wonder he could kill Xiong Yunhu, who was on a rampage. Boring, childish. Yi Jioga instantly understood Jun Yichen's intention to show off. "Tiske, a little brat is a little brat." He used to pretend to be arrogant and cold, but now he finally showed his true colors. Luo Tian had always been indulgent toward Jun Yichen, so accompanying him was understandable. But Yi Yu wasn't a child anymore. How could he be as mischievous as Junichen? Yi Jioga thought about this and asked Yu, Junichen and Brother Bai are at odds, so it's normal that they don't want to see each other. Why don't you want to see them? It's not that I don't want to see them, but I don't want them to know about the treasure map. Yi was also very direct. He and Yi Jioga had the same idea. The treasure map had to be hidden from them. They know you have the treasure map? Yi Jioga was a little surprised, but he understood after thinking about it. When Su Junqing and the Crown Prince worked together to destroy the Yi family, it only took a little speculation to understand what had happened. Yes, a lot of people have been asking about the treasure map recently. Miss, you must be careful. Yi was very worried. The treasure map was originally an extremely secretive matter, but now that it was exposed after the Crown Prince fell, the situation in Shangjing was very chaotic. It's useless to be careful. At this time, we have to take the initiative and try to collect the treasure map as soon as possible. This time, the Spiritualist Alliance is going to deal with the bloodthirsty ancestor. We have to take this opportunity to save your sister. Yi Jioga said decisively. Okay. Yi Yu's spirit was lifted, and he nodded hard. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. At this time, Junichen, who had been quietly listening on the side, suddenly asked Yi Jioga, if there was a treasure map in front of you, how much would you pay to buy it? From what you said, do you have a treasure map? Yi Jioga raised his eyebrows. The Blood Cloak tribe had always been low-key, and they didn't seem like people who would participate in this kind of thing. Yes, our tribe has a treasure map that has been passed down for generations. If you are willing to teach me beast language, I will give it to you. Junichen really wanted to learn beast language from Yi Jioga. I can't teach you beast language. This is a bloodline ability passed down to me by my grandfather's ancestors. Yi Jioga and Zi Shang had already rehearsed the lines, so he just needed to push it to his grandfather. Junichen frowned. If it was a bloodline ability, then there was nothing he could do. Thus, he simply changed his condition. Chapter 221. Then give me 100 bottles of spirit beast pills to exchange. Junichen waved his hand domineeringly. He was calculating in his heart. The blood-clothed Miao tribe only had him and Luo Tian left. Luo Tian had already sold himself to Yi Jioga. The treasure map was useless to him. He might as well give it to Yi Jioga. When she went treasure hunting, he and Luo Tian would go and help her. They could exchange the treasures for spirit beast pills. In short, the spirit beast pill was the greatest benefit. This is too troublesome. How about I give you the spirit beast pill recipe? You can refine as many as you want. Yi Jioga was chased by Junichen for spirit beast pills every day. He was so annoyed that he wanted to give the recipe away to save trouble. I am not interested in refining pills. Junichen shook his head. He was sure of Yi Jioga. All right, 100 bottles it is, but I don't have time to refine now. I will give you 10 bottles first. I will give you the rest 15 days later. Yi Jioga said helplessly. Also, don't forget the debt from buying the goo worms. Junichen added seriously. Even if I want to forget, I need a chance. Yi Jioga was very unhappy. Cough, cough. At this time, Luo Tian suddenly covered his mouth and coughed a few times, then pretended to say casually, if it is convenient, how about giving me this month's spirit beast pills? A monthly allowance of 1 bottle, such a good benefit, he could not lose it. Then can my monthly allowance be changed to spirit beast pills? Or can I buy a bottle from you? Yu asked carefully. Recently, Black Overlord had been complaining to him every day, saying that Xiao Hong could eat spirit beast pills with its master, but it had to eat poison with its master every day. It even had the thought of going on strike. All right, I will give it all. Yi Jioga felt that he really owed them. Thank you, Mississippi. Luo Tian smiled reservedly. Don't thank me too early. Yi Jioga glared at Luo Tian, then said to Junichen, if you want to get spirit beast pills, you have to do something for me. What is it? Junichen looked at Yi Jioga vigilantly. Don't mention it if it's too difficult. It's not difficult. It's just that the newly appointed Crown Prince, Dongfang Ke, still has remnants of the Frost Spider's king poison in his body. I would like to ask you to help him resolve it. Yi Jioga felt that his request was not too excessive. If it weren't for her help, Jun Chen wouldn't have been able to obtain Ancestor Bloodthirsty's blood essence. Now that he was asked for a small favor, he probably wouldn't refuse. It's a piece of cake. I'll just make a trip there myself tonight. Jun Chen patted his chest in satisfaction. Yi Jioga was stunned. He felt that there was something wrong with Jun Chen today. In the past, Jun Chen rarely had any expressions. Today, however, his expression was so rich that it was scary. It was as if all his emotions were displayed on his face. You've also noticed that young master is different. Jun Chen actually smiled at Yi Jioga. Those little white teeth were really frightening. Are you possessed by something evil? Yi Jioga asked suspiciously. Tui, you're the one who's possessed by something evil. Jun Chen glared at Yi Jioga in dissatisfaction. Then, he said proudly, after I refined the bloodthirsty old man's blood essence, my cultivation rose greatly. My soul became one. This is my true appearance. His appearance was really unlikable. Yi Jioga couldn't help but look at Luo Tian. She had a feeling that Jun Chen's behavior wasn't that simple. Luo Tian avoided Yi Jioga's gaze and didn't say anything. Although he had already sold himself to Yi Jioga, this was related to his young master's secret. He decided to remain silent. Seeing that, Yi Jioga didn't ask any further. Instead, he mentioned another matter. Since we've already decided to go to Blood Cloud Peak to deal with Ancestor Bloodthirsty, then we have to start preparing everything. I'll be in charge of the elixirs. You guys are in charge of gathering information about Blood Cloud Peak and paying attention to the Spiritualist Alliance's movements. After Yi Jioga finished speaking, he asked Luo Tian, you guys should be very familiar with Blood Cloud Peak. Is there anything that we need to pay attention to? We've already left Blood Cloud Peak for 3 years. These few years, Ancestor Bloodthirsty hasn't stopped exaggerating. As for the specific changes, we need to investigate further. Luo Tian said cautiously. Then we'll investigate while preparing. Yi Jioga wasn't worried about this. After fighting with Lu Yunfei and the other evil cultivators, they more or less had some confidence. Currently, goo worms were the biggest weapon against bloodthirsty sect. Thinking of this, Yi Jioga turned to Jun Chen and said, you should cultivate more goo worms during this period of time, in case of emergencies. Do you think goo worms are cabbages that you can cultivate whenever you want? You need to have the capital first. Jun Chen rolled his eyes. He wanted to ask for spirit beast pills, but was stopped by Yi Jioga. It's fine if you don't want to cultivate them. Then you can go take revenge yourself. Jun Chen's words were immediately stifled. He glared at Yi Jioga hatefully. Luo Tian quickly smoothed things over. Eldest miss, don't worry. Young master knows what he's doing. He has been cultivating goo worms during this period of time. He's already harvested a batch. That's good. Yi Jioga was still very confident in Luo Tian. Seeing that it was getting late, she stood up and said, if there's nothing else, let's disperse. Then I'll leave first. Yi Yu was in a hurry to gather information about the Spiritualist Alliance. Luo Tian and Jun Chen also left. Their tasks were more important. Cultivating goo worms wasn't that easy. After Yi Jioga sent them off, she went to the alchemy room to prepare to refine pills. She had just taken out the herbs to refine spirit beast pills when she suddenly heard Zishang say, there's something wrong with that kid, Jun Chen. What's wrong? Yi Jioga stopped what she was doing and looked up at Zishang. Jun Chen's cultivation of the human goo art is very dangerous. First, he places a part of his soul on the natal goo. During the process of the natal goo cultivating into a human form, the two will constantly be in contact. Although his cultivation increased after absorbing the bloodthirsty ancestor's blood essence, there's a problem with the compatibility. Don't you think he's too lively? Zishang asked. Now that you mention it, it's a little true. Yi Jioga originally thought that Jun Chen had an outburst of a child's nature. She didn't expect that it was actually chi deviation. She immediately asked anxiously, then what should we do now? Jun Chen was their secret weapon against the bloodthirsty ancestor. If anything went wrong, it would be troublesome. This is his cultivation. He can only endure it by himself, Zishang said indifferently. He had already done his best to remind Jun Chen. As for helping, he wasn't that kind. He's still so young. How can he endure it? Yi Jioga frowned worriedly. No matter how Jun Ichen pretended to be mature, he was still just an 11-year-old child. Yi Jioga didn't think that he could endure it. Don't make dirty jokes. Zi Shang's face was stern. Damn you. What kind of situation is this? You're still making such boring jokes. Dirty jokes? She was even talking dirty jokes. Chapter 222. Zi Shang saw that Yi Jioga was about to turn hostile, so he cleverly changed the topic. If you really want to help him, why don't you try using the white bone flame to refine spirit beast pills? Are you kidding me? The white bone flame is ghost fire and can only be used to refine Yin pills. I don't want those goo insects to become ghost insects. Yi Jioga felt that Zi Shang was clearly causing trouble. These goo insects aren't spirit beasts. Maybe it's better to eat Yin pills. Also, your bronze cauldron is different from other cauldrons. It can refine all kinds of heaven and earth elemental energy. Maybe it can refine some special pills. Why don't you give it a try? Zi Shang didn't look like he was joking. Yi Jioga pondered for a moment and felt that Zi Shang's words made sense. Refining goo insects was originally a sinister technique. Maybe Yin pills were more suitable. Let's try refining a few first. As a pill refiner, Yi Jioga didn't lack the fearless spirit to try. Other than the white bone flame, she also wanted to improve the spirit beast pill formula. Although the previous spirit beast pill contained a good amount of spiritual energy, it was very bitter and was comparable to poison. Yi Jioga had eaten one before and the nauseating feeling greatly reduced the absorption effect. She had always wanted to improve this point and did a lot of research. She already had a plan in mind and could test it today. Yi Jioga wanted to add vermilion fruit and nepenthes to the original spirit beast pill formula. The vermilion fruit tasted very sweet after refining and was a child's favorite. When she refined the Peiyuan pill for Yi Rui, she specially spared some. It tasted very good and Yi Rui ate it happily. Later, she accidentally discovered that if a certain proportion of nepenthes was added to the vermilion fruit, the taste would become even more delicious and sweet. Yi Jioga took out the small bronze cauldron. Ever since the fat black rat fell asleep, the small bronze cauldron had changed a lot. After injecting spiritual energy, it was half the height of a person. Not only could it contain more herbs, but the refining speed was also faster and the success rate was much higher. In the past, one furnace could only produce 20 spirit beast pills, but now it could produce 200. It was because of this magical tool that she dared to agree to Jun Ichen's request. Otherwise, just refining spirit beast pills would exhaust her to death. Yi Jioga put the ingredients into the small bronze cauldron and summoned the white bone flame to start refining. Although the soybean-sized white bone flame looked very small under the huge bronze cauldron, the power it could unleash was very strong. The herbs in the bronze cauldron quickly melted and turned into a black liquid. Seeing that it was about time, Yi Jioga threw the vermilion fruit and nepenthes grass into the small bronze cauldron according to the ratio of 1:5. Zi Shang blinked his peach blossom eyes, as if saying, "If you don't understand, this sovereign is more than happy to prove it to you. No need." Yi Jioga glared at Zi Shang. She was very clear about the fact that she had long sold herself to Zi Shang. This pill is not bad, it's just that the name is too unpleasant. Zi Shang threw a pill into his mouth and said unhappily, calling it spirit beast pill is too insulting to this sovereign's demonic character. At the very least, it should be changed to something like limitless pill, overlord pill, or something like that. Forget it, I'm still counting on this pill to earn money. How would Yi Jioga dare to come up with such an annoying name? Most importantly, Heavenly Spirit Pill, Overlord Pill, and whatnot did not match the characteristics of this pill. Then let's call it Heavenly Dragon Pill. Zi Shang decided. Heavenly Dragon, your sister. Yi Jioga rolled her eyes at Zi Shang. After thinking for a moment, she said, then let's call it Cherry Pill. These pills looked like small cherries, and were worthy of the name Cherry Pill. Furthermore, she had eaten one just now, and realized that it had the same effect of replenishing spiritual energy for humans, so there was no need to stick to the name Spirit Beast Pill. Alright. Zi Shang reluctantly agreed, and then threw another pill into his mouth and ate it with relish. Yi Jioge could not help but raise her eyebrows. She did not expect that Zishang was such a demonic person who loved to eat candy. Perhaps in the future, she could use this point to make an issue out of it, such as threats and temptations. Yi Jioge thought about all sorts of things in her heart, but her hands did not stop moving. Very quickly, she refined a new batch of spirit beast pills. This time, she did not wait for Zishang to snatch them and quickly kept the spirit beast pills. Then, she began to carefully study the characteristics of this new pill. When she ate the first pill, she only felt that it was filled with spiritual energy. When she ate the second pill, she was disturbed by Zishang, and that feeling of ecstasy was too subjective. When she ate the third pill, Yi Jioge finally realized that the characteristics of this new pill was actually to calm the mind. Chapter 223. Yi Jioge looked at the cherry pill in disbelief. She ate 3 more in a row to confirm that the pill really had the effect of calming the nerves and gathering qi. Calming the nerves and gathering qi sounded simple, but it was a requirement that many spiritualists could not achieve. When a spiritualist advanced, they would either advance or fall back. The process was very dangerous, and very few could maintain a calm mind. Spiritualists who could afford it would buy some calming pills when they advanced. However, better calming pills required a lot of high-rank spirit herbs, and the refining process was very difficult, causing the price to be very high. There were very few spiritualists who could afford it. However, this cherry pill actually had the effect of calming the nerves and gathering qi. It was a little weak, but there was a lot of it. The materials to refine this batch of cherry pill were much cheaper than a calming pill. Refine it well, and you'll have a bright future. Zishang had to admit that Yi Jioge was very talented in alchemy. The cherry pill had spiritual power and could calm the nerves. It was good for him, let alone ordinary people and spirit beasts. Of course, the delicacy was also an indispensable factor. Do you think this cherry pill's effect of calming the nerves and gathering qi can help Zhu Nichen get through the break-in period? Yi Jioge was still worried about Zhu Nichen. Yes. Zishang nodded. Then let's go find him. Yi Jioge made a prompt decision, took the pills and left. Zishang naturally followed her. Zhu Nichen was still living in the place where he was originally arranged to raise the poisonous earth dragon Gu. Luo Tian also stayed with him. The sun was high up in the sky, and the blazing sunlight shone on the ground. The courtyard was quiet, and only the sound of the poisonous dragons gnawing on their food could be heard. The spacious courtyard was filled with dustpans, which were filled with poisonous earth dragons that had advanced for the second time. The poisonous earth dragon, which used to be white and chubby, was now a bit more intelligent, and it ate the black fly grass ferociously. Yi Jioge and Zishang walked into the courtyard and were about to call someone. Suddenly, they heard a child's sharp laughter from inside the house. It was obviously Zhu Nichen's voice. What's going on? Yi Jioge was shocked and walked into the house. Deep inside the dilapidated house, it was gloomy and dark. With his back facing the door, Zhu Nichen squatted on the ground and kept drawing circles. From time to time, he would let out a strange and shrill laugh. The whole scene was indescribably strange. Luo Tian was lying in the doorway with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. His chest was not moving at all, as if he was already dead. Luo Tian. Yi Jioge's eyes narrowed. Just as he was about to rush in to check on Luo Tian, he was stopped by Zishang. Something's not right. Zishang frowned and a solemn expression appeared on his handsome face. Isn't that obvious? Yi Jioge was anxious. How was this not right? This was simply eerie and terrifying. Zishang ignored Yi Jioge and flicked his finger at Zhu Nichen. Before the black spirit force could even touch Zhu Nichen, it was repelled by an invisible force. Then, Zhu Nichen's figure suddenly disappeared. In the next moment, he actually pounced towards Yi Jioge like a ghost. Yi Jioge reacted very quickly, and a purple spirit light barrier appeared around him. Boom! The spiritual light barrier shattered into countless rays of light. Sharp nails appeared on Zhu Nichen's small hands. After breaking the spiritual light barrier, he directly stabbed towards Yi Jioge's chest. Yi Jioge's breath stagnated. She never thought that Junichen would kill her, but it was a bit too late to make a move now. Fortunately, Zishang was by her side to protect her. His well-defined palm pushed outwards, and the black and purple spirit force turned into a shield that blocked Junichen's attack. After Junichen failed, he immediately retreated and wanted to escape. Zishang lightly clenched his fist, and the black and purple shield suddenly exploded, turning into a giant net that enveloped Junichen. Eoeoeo. Junichen let out a beast-like howl and kept struggling in the giant net. Yijioga calmed down and looked carefully. Only then did he realize that Junichen's eyes were blood red, and his small face was very frightening. The strangest thing was that between his eyebrows, there was actually a blood pouch the size of a thumb that looked like a heart. He's being controlled by the bloodthirsty ancestor. Zishang immediately understood when he saw Junichen's eyebrows. The bloodthirsty ancestor was indeed shrewd and ruthless. He actually hid a move in that drop of blood essence. Junichen seemed to have successfully refined the bloodthirsty ancestor's blood essence, but in his weakened state, he was fiercely attacked by the bloodthirsty ancestor, which was why he suddenly lost his mind and attacked Yijioga. Yijioga opened his spiritual eye and looked carefully at the blood pouch. He realized that it extended out many thin bloodlines that enveloped Junichen's head, and the only weak point was at the Dasui acupuncture point. Yijioga decisively took out the lightning fire needle, and after injecting spiritual energy, he pierced it towards Junichen's Dasui acupuncture point. The blood pouch was blocked, and the blood in Junichen's eyes faded, and his body immediately went limp. Yijioga did not go up to look at him, but hurriedly went to check on Luo Tian. Luckily, Luo Tian was only seriously injured and unconscious, and his life was not in danger. Otherwise, if Junichen woke up and realized that he had killed Luo Tian, he would probably immediately collapse. Gee! An even weaker sound came from Luo Tian's neck. Yijioga took a look and saw that half of Xiao Hong's body was broken, and it was on the verge of death, but it was still continuously shouting, "Save my master. Your master is fine, and you will be fine too." As Yijioga said that, he crushed a cherry and sprinkled it on Xiao Hong's broken body. Goo worms did not need to be consumed orally, and it had the same effect when used externally. Xiao Hong, who was about to lose consciousness from the pain, smelled a sweet smell, and it quickly fell into a blissful sleep. Yijioga also stuffed a few cultivation recovery pills into Luo Tian's mouth, and then went to check on Junichen. Junichen's body was curled up on the ground, and there was a blood-red bulge on his forehead, as if he had grown a horn. The veins at the corner of his eyes were exposed, and his entire face was extremely terrifying. Even the lightning fire needle that was pierced into his Dasui acupuncture point seemed to be unable to suppress it anymore. In this situation, the only way was to extract the drop of blood essence that belonged to the bloodthirsty ancestor. However, this drop of blood essence was extremely cunning, and it would probably escape once it was extracted. "Can you seal the drop of blood essence from the bloodthirsty ancestor?" Yijioga asked Zishang. "No, I can only destroy it." Zishang shook his head. He was only good at destruction, not sealing. Destroying it would be a pity. Yijioga was a little hesitant, and decided to wake Junichen up first. The lightning fire needle controlled the situation at the Dasui acupuncture point, and Yijioga took out another 49 golden needles and inserted them into Junichen's body, completely suppressing the drop of blood essence from the bloodthirsty ancestor. The blood bump on Junichen's forehead slowly softened, as if it had disappeared. Then he slowly opened his eyes, and looked at Yijioga and Zishang blankly at first. Then he seemed to react, and quickly turned to look at the place where Luo Tian had fallen. "He's fine, but you almost lost your life." Yijioga's tone was a little unfriendly. If this little guy had asked her for help earlier, he would not have fallen into such a dangerous situation today. Chapter 224. I didn't think the bloodthirsty ancestor would have such a trick up his sleeve. Junichen returned to his expressionless face. "Then what do you plan to do? It's dangerous to keep this drop of blood. You might die." Yijioga felt that if he didn't exaggerate the truth, this brat wouldn't know how to write the word fear. Refine it. Jun Yichen was resolute without hesitation. He shouldered the blood feud of his clansmen. He had to become stronger at all costs. Even if it was a narrow escape, he had to charge forward. Yi Jioge saw him like this and couldn't say anything else to persuade him. She looked at Zishang for help and asked, "Is there any way to help him? This is a battle between him and the bloodthirsty ancestor." Zishang's expression was indifferent. If he couldn't even refine this drop of blood, how could he talk about revenge? "That's right. This is my hurdle. I can overcome it myself." Jun Yichen stood up and pulled the thunderfire needle from behind his neck. The other golden needles fell to the ground. Yi Jioge made a hand seal and took back the thunderfire needles and golden needles. Then, he took out the cherry pill that he had just refined and said to Jun Yichen, "This is my new spirit beast pill. I hope it can help you." "Why is it red?" Jun Yichen opened the bottle and looked at Yi Jioge in confusion. "This is a modified formula. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." Yi Jioge didn't explain. Only those who had tasted it would know. Jun Yichen ate one doubtfully. Then, his eyes widened in disbelief. "See? It calms the nerves and gathers qi." Yi Jioge was slightly proud. It seemed that Jun Yichen knew his stuff. Jun Yichen didn't hear what Yi Jioge said. He poured a bottle into his mouth and swallowed it without chewing. The drop of blood also felt something was wrong. It split into two and turned into two blood-red tentacles that emerged from Jun Yichen's forehead. Jun Yichen sat down cross-legged. His abdomen began to bulge. A golden red light shot out from his abdomen and headed straight for the two blood-red tentacles. The two blood-red antennae shrank back and split into two as they began to flee in different directions. The golden red light chased after the one on the left and swallowed it in no time. The blood-red tentacle on the right suddenly burst forth, breaking through the skin on Jun Yichen's neck and flying out. Jun Yichen calmly opened his mouth, and the golden natal goo flew out aggressively. It opened its mouth wide and swallowed the escaping blood essence in one gulp. Jun Yichen's vital goo had already undergone a huge transformation. His head had completely evolved into a human head, and his face, which resembled Jun Yichen's, was filled with a triumphant expression. Apart from its head, it had even evolved to have two thin arms, and below that was its insect body. It flew back to Jun Yichen's head and laid there, shouting, "Do you have any more of those cherry pills? Give me another stack." Jun Yichen silently raised his hand and poured two cherry pills into his mouth. The natal goo screeched and turned into a beam of golden light, entering Jun Yichen's mouth. "Did you succeed?" Yi Jioge asked. Jun Yichen nodded silently, then took out a red cloth bag from his bosom and threw it towards Yi Jioge. He was actually extremely grateful for Yi Jioge's help, but his awkward personality prevented him from saying any words of thanks, so he could only express it with his actions. Zishang grabbed the cloth bag and opened it. It turned out to be half a treasure map. "Brat, at least you know what's good for you." Yi Jioge unceremoniously put away the treasure map. "I still need to consolidate my cultivation. I'll leave Luo Tian to you." Jun Yichen was even more impolite than Yi Jioge. After throwing Luo Tian to Yi Jioge, he prepared to return to his room to continue cultivating. "Wait, have you finished helping me with Dongfang K's matter?" Yi Jioge called out to him. "Dongfang K's poison has been completely removed," Jun Yichen said without turning his head, then entered the room and closed the door. Yi Jioge couldn't just leave him like that, so he could only helplessly stand guard at the door. "Sit here." Zishang waved his hand, and two chairs appeared in front of them. Yi Jioge and Zishang sat side by side, then asked, "What do you think Bloodthirsty Ancestor will do after he receives the news that we're going to attack Blood Cloud Peak with great fanfare?" Zishang pondered for a moment, then said, "He'll probably think about how to use this opportunity to eat more people. He's treating us like vegetables." Yi Jioge didn't believe that Bloodthirsty Ancestor was that strong. If he was really that strong, he would have ascended to the heavens long ago. Why would he stay in Blood Cloud Peak? "If it's me, that's what I'll do," Zishang said matter-of-factly. "I'm not asking you, I'm asking Bloodthirsty Ancestor." Yi Jioge was speechless. "I'm not Bloodthirsty Ancestor. If you want to know, go ask him yourself." Zishang refused to answer Yi Jiuge's stupid question. Blood Cloud Peak Blood Pool. Bloodthirsty ancestor was currently cultivating in the large blood pool in the center. Lu Yunfei and Old Man Su's bodies were soaking in two small blood pools beside him. At this time, more than half of their bodies had dissolved, leaving only two heads floating above the blood pool. The scene was extremely terrifying. Soon, the two heads dissolved as well, turning into two extremely thick bloody lights that gathered at the center of Bloodthirsty Ancestor's body. These two bloody lights were the most critical moment of his cultivation method. Bloodthirsty Ancestor calmed his mind and prepared to fuse with them. However, at this moment, his heart suddenly shrank, and the meridians in his body froze. As soon as the two bloody lights entered, the rest immediately disappeared. Damn it. Chapter 225. If Ancestor Bloodthirsty wasn't worried that killing Su Junqing would affect the morale of his disciples, he would have killed the kid to train as well. However, it was a critical time to fight against the spiritualists. He not only had to keep the kid under control, but he also had to give him some rewards to let his subordinates know that as long as they worked well for him, there would be many benefits. Ancestor Bloodthirsty quickly made up his mind. He stood up and left the blood pond, calling for Skinny Monkey. Ancestor, what are your orders? Skinny Monkey bowed and asked politely. Su Junqing did a good job this time. Bring out blood slave number 13 and give it to him. Ancestor Bloodthirsty took out a red flower-shaped seal and threw it to Skinny Monkey. Skinny Monkey's heart jumped when he caught the seal. Blood slave number 13 was Yiyunji. Su Junqing had sent Yiyunji to the ancestor to please him. Now, the ancestor gave Yiyunji to Su Junqing. What did he mean? What? Is there a problem? The ancestor looked at the silent Skinny Monkey with a trace of doubt in his voice. Skinny Monkey immediately came back to his senses and said, I just can't remember who blood slave number 13 is. The one with the red mole between her eyebrows. Ancestor Bloodthirsty remembered clearly. Oh, it's her. Skinny Monkey suddenly understood and then showed a wretched and regretful expression. My brothers thought that the blood slave would definitely go to the blood cave. I'm going to be disappointed. What's there to be disappointed about? Send my message. After we resist the Spiritualist Alliance's attack, they can use my blood slaves as they wish, Ancestor Bloodthirsty said generously. Thank you, Ancestor. Skinny Monkey was overjoyed and immediately flattered him again. Old Ancestor is mighty. With you here, we will definitely defeat those rookies from the Spiritualist Alliance and give our blood-sucking sect more blood resources. All right, stop flattering me. Go and do your work. Ancestor Bloodthirsty waved his hand impatiently. Yes. Skinny Monkey immediately bowed and left. He didn't dare to delay and immediately took the seal to the 100-Flower Palace. Yiyunji was secretly cultivating. Hearing Skinny Monkey call for her, her heart jumped. Ancestor Bloodthirsty should be cultivating right now. He shouldn't be looking for a blood slave to serve him. Did something happen? She was anxious and her face showed a bit of worry. Seeing Skinny Monkey, she asked nervously, Brother Skinny Monkey, what happened? The old ancestor wants to give you to Su Junqing, the Skinny Monkey said in a deep voice. To who? Yiyunji thought she had heard him wrong. Su Junqing. Skinny Monkey-like emphasized. Why is he here? Yiyunji felt a chill rising from the soles of her feet, making her whole body feel cold. But at the same time, a ball of fire was lit in her heart, burning her to the point that she had to breathe heavily to avoid suffocating to death. Skinny Monkey Man knew the grudge between Yiyunji and Su Junqing. He could understand her pain, so he told him how Su Junqing had brought his grandfather to bloodthirsty progenitor. To even his own grandpa, Su. Crazy as, Skinny God, Skinny Yi sighed. Although he wasn't a good person and had harmed many people for the sake of cultivation, at least he wouldn't do anything to his family. He would also do his best to protect the people he wanted to protect. Su Junqing, Yiyunji murmured. She wanted to bite the name and swallow it with her blood. Su Junqing, Yiyunji muttered to herself. It was as if she wanted to crush the name and swallow it with her blood. Su Junqing, Yiyunji murmured. She seemed to want to bite the name and swallow it with her blood. Don't do anything stupid. Skinny Monkey was worried that Yi Yunji would do something wrong. You don't have to worry too much. You are a gift from the patriarch. Su Junqing would never dare to kill you, Skinny Monkey said softly. I would rather he killed me. Yi Yunji's voice sounded like she was weeping blood. Tears flowed down her fair and beautiful face. Her tears were sincere, but most of them were for Skinny Monkey. The skinny monkey-like man was distressed. He quickly comforted Yi Yunji. I know you're upset. But don't worry, Su Junqing won't live for long. After we defeat the Spiritualist Alliance, the Ancestor will not spare him. Skinny Monkey had served Ancestor Bloodthirsty for many years. He knew what Ancestor Bloodthirsty was thinking. He knew that Ancestor Bloodthirsty would not tolerate a failure like Su Junqing. I hope I can live until then. Yi Yunji wiped her tears and took out something from her pouch. She gave it to Skinny Monkey and said, Brother Skinny Monkey, thank you for taking care of me. I don't have anything to thank you, so take this as a memento. Skinny Monkey took it and saw that it was a small wooden carving. The carving was of a lively monkey. I will save you from here. Skinny Monkey held the monkey carving in his hand and said to Yi Yunji as if he was making a vow. Yi Yunji just smiled. There was a bit of helplessness and a bit of gratitude in her eyes. Let's go. Skinny Monkey suppressed his excitement and walked toward Su Junqing's room. Yi Yunji followed him silently. Soon, the two of them arrived in front of a dilapidated room. They knocked on the wooden door above. Who is it? Su Junqing's voice came. Brother Su, it's me, Skinny Monkey. Skinny Monkey's attitude was familiar and his voice was normal. Su Junqing hurried to open the door and greeted him enthusiastically. Oh, it's Brother Skinny Monkey. What brings you here? Then he glanced behind Skinny Monkey and saw a blood slave with a slender body. Her head was lowered, he couldn't see and her face long clearly. Black hair hung on both sides. This blood slave number 13 is a gift from Ancestor Bloodthirsty. Skinny Monkey took out the red seal Ancestor Bloodthirsty had given him and pretended to be envious. Kid, you're the favorite of Ancestor Bloodthirsty. When you get rich, don't forget to mention your brother. Don't say that, Brother Skinny Monkey. I need to rely on you in the future, Su Junqing said modestly. All right, don't stand on ceremony with me. Take this seal, drip a drop of blood on it, and then stamp it on this blood slave's body. She's yours now. This is a reward from the Ancestor himself. You better enjoy it, kid. Skinny Monkey suppressed his heartache and pretended to be happy. He handed the seal to Su Junqing and said goodbye to him after a round of flattery. Take care, Brother Skinny Monkey. After Su Junqing saw Skinny Monkey off, he took the red seal and looked at the blood slave the Ancestor Bloodthirsty had given him. Although he couldn't see her face because her head was lowered, he could see that her body wasn't bad. Moreover, she was full of blood and flesh. Su Junqing knew that Ancestor Bloodthirsty only sucked blood and never had sex. These blood slaves were still very clean. Raise your head. Let me look at you. Su Junqing's voice was gentle like a lover's murmur. Chapter 226. Su Junqing had his own plans. This blood slave had served the bloodthirsty progenitor for a long time, so she should know something. He had just arrived at Blood Cloud Peak and needed someone to provide information. This blood slave was a good choice. The blood slave slowly raised her head. Her cloud-like hair fluttered along with her movements and fell on her cheeks, revealing a beautiful face. The red mole between her eyebrows was as dazzling as cinnabar under the candlelight. Yun Yunji. Su Junqing's eyes widened as he looked at Yi Yunji in disbelief. Why wasn't she dead yet? Sir Su, long time no see. Yi Yunji's resentful voice sounded in the room as if it was calling from hell. Yunji, are you all right? Su Junqing reacted quickly and showed a complicated expression of awkwardness, melancholy, worry, guilt, and other emotions. Thanks to Sir Su, I'm still alive, Yi Yunji said word by word. I know you must be blaming me. Su Junqing heaved a long sigh, but he was desperately trying to think of an excuse to fool Yi Yunji. He really didn't think that Yi Yunji was still alive and that the bloodthirsty progenitor had given her to him. Could it be that the old ancestor was warning him? You destroyed me and my family. Shouldn't I blame you? Yi Yunji's eyes burned with deep hatred. If it weren't for the fact that the spirit energy she had was not Su Juanqing's match, she really wanted to rush up and die with him. Yunji, I know you hate me, but I have my own difficulties. Su Juanqing wanted to say something but stopped. He sighed painfully and said helplessly, You've been in bloodthirsty sect for a long time, so you should understand my situation. I'm just a dog in bloodthirsty sect. I have to obey the progenitor's orders. You mean that the progenitor forced you to do all those dirty things? Yi Yunji sneered. The progenitor wants the treasure map. Your Yi family is guilty of possessing it. If it were someone else in bloodthirsty sect, your entire family would be captured and used as fertilizer. Yi Yu wouldn't be able to escape. Su Juanqing's words were very skillful. He did not try to absolve himself, but this comparison showed that he had been lenient towards the Yi family. At least she and Yi Yu were still alive. In that case, I should thank you. Yi Yunji was no longer the innocent girl from before. Of course, she wouldn't believe Su Juanqing's nonsense. I know you resent me, and I have nothing to say. Since old ancestor has returned you to me, I will definitely treat you well in the future and make up for my mistakes. Su Juanqing's handsome face was filled with gentleness and determination to make up for his mistakes. Do you really think that ancestor gave me to you to reward you? Yi Yunji laughed sarcastically, then said with a malicious tone, Actually, he just wants to stabilize the morale of the army. After this incident, you will die without a doubt. Su Juanqing's pupils shrank as he asked, What do you mean? You know forefather Bloodthirsty's temper very well. He doesn't accept losers. Yi Yunji looked at Su Juanqing's pale face and felt really good. The failure of the Alchemy City plan has nothing to do with me. It's all because Yi Jioga is too cunning. For the forefather's grand plan, I even offered my own grandfather to him. Su Juanqing angrily said, What's the point of saying that to me? I'm not the forefather. Yi Yunji leisurely said. Su Juanqing's face was ashen. He knew that Yi Yunji was telling the truth. The forefather was an eccentric person and hated losers the most. Especially since the Alchemy City plan was related to his advancement, he couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Lu Yunfei and Xiong Yunhu were both dead, and he was the only one left alive. Su Juanqing originally wanted to take Lu Yunfei's corpse and escape, but his bewitching art had reached a critical point. He had to come back for the next merit law. After thinking about it, Su Juanqing finally came up with a way to use the old man as an apology. The bloodthirsty ancestor praised him for his filial piety. Although the forefather didn't punish him for his negligence, he didn't give him the bewitching art either. Su Juanqing already had a bad feeling in his heart, but Yi Yunji's words frightened him even more. Yunji, you have to help me this time. Su Juanqing pinched Yi Yunji's shoulder, his eyes flashing red. This was the sign of the bewitching art activating. Yi Yunji stared into Su Juanqing's eyes and began to feel dizzy. This familiar feeling immediately told her that Su Juanqing was using the bewitching art on her again. The bewitching art had a lot to do with the fact that she was so hell-bent on following this heartless man. She had been thinking about revenge day and night, so how could she not be on guard against Su Juanqing's move? Yi Yunji clenched her fists hidden in her sleeves. Her red fingernails smeared with heart-devouring powder pierced her palm. The unique pain of the heart-devouring powder immediately pulled her back to reality. Yi Yunji was clear-headed, but she still had a confused expression on her face. She answered Su Juanqing's question in a daze. The forefather's cultivation failed. The blood lotus is about to mature, the spiritualist alliance is waiting for an opportunity, and the bloodthirsty sect is wavering. Su Juanqing listened to the good news coming out of Yi Yunji's mouth, and his face revealed a crazy expression. In this way, not only could he take advantage of the alliance's attack on the bloodthirsty sect to get the complete bewitching art, but he could also get more benefits. Furthermore, he could obtain more benefits, such as the precious blood lotus flower. Yi Yunji looked at Su Juanqing's undisguised greed with hazy eyes, and her red lips curved imperceptibly. Su Juanqing, I will definitely return the pain I've suffered to you 1,000 times over. Blood Cloud Peak was surging, but Shang Jing was very calm. After Yi Jioge finished protecting Junichen, he left a bottle of essence cultivating pills and cherry pills for the awakened Luo Tian, and then returned with Zishang. As soon as he entered the gate, he heard buzzing sounds. A black and mighty fat insect flapped its wings and flew towards Yi Jioge, and complained discontentedly, "Where have you been? Master and I have been waiting for you for a long time." The feeling of being questioned by a goo insect was too fresh, so Yi Jioge replied very seriously, "I went to see Junichen. He had some problems with his cultivation." Black Overlord obviously did not care about the goo father that raised him, and instead surrounded Yi Jioge and shouted, "Where is my master's reward? Quickly give it to me." Since when could goo insects help their master get rewarded? Yi Jioge felt that these goo insects were becoming more and more temperamental. In order to encourage them to continue, she simply gave Yi Yu's reward to Black Overlord. This is the newly refined Spirit Beast Pill, Cherry Pill. Yi Jioge took out a bottle of Cherry Pill. Black Overlord's small eyes shone with excitement and immediately rushed up to hug the jade bottle that was even bigger than him, and then turned into a black light and disappeared. All right. With such a life-saving method, Yi was naturally happy. He extended his hand without hesitation. Yi Jioge took out the sterilized blood vessel and started to bleed Yi Yu. "Young miss, if you refine pills for us every day, will it affect your cultivation?" Yi Yu asked carefully. This question had always been in his heart. Other alchemists and spiritualists cultivated in seclusion, constantly improving their pill refinement and cultivation. Very few of them were distracted. However, young Miss did many things personally and often fought with them on the front lines. How would she have time to cultivate like this? "You don't need to worry about this. I know what I'm doing." Yi Jioge couldn't tell Yi Yu that it wasn't that she didn't want to cultivate. It was because she was poisoned by the 9-layer bone shatterer. Cultivating too much would easily cause her dantian to explode. At that time, she wouldn't even know how she died. Speaking of which, when she went to find Yi Yuxuan last time, she actually forgot whether he was the one who poisoned her. To be honest, Yi Jioge didn't think it was Yi Yuxuan. At that time she was so young. If Yi Yuxuan wanted to kill her, it would be as easy as flipping his palm. He didn't need to use such a high-end and special poison. However, she still needed to ask him. Yi Jioge's mind was full of thoughts, but her hands didn't stop moving. Soon, she gave Yi Yu a bottle of blood. "Is this enough?" Yi Yu couldn't wait for Yi Jioge to give him more blood so that he could refine more secret pills. Yes. Secret pills were something that could only be used when there was no other choice. How could they be used as food? Yi Yu put down his sleeves, curled his fingers, and whistled. Then, Black Tyrant flew out of the window with the jade bottle in his arms. His fat belly was so bloated that it was about to droop. Black Tyrant, who had just received his master's reward, perfectly displayed the true essence of the sunlight race. The jade bottle couldn't be any emptier. "Let's go." Yi Yu shoved Black Tyrant into his pocket and left with Yi Jioge. Yi Jioge put away Yi Yu's blood and told Zishang about the 9-layer bone shatter. "This sovereign has already asked for you. It wasn't your scumbag father who poisoned you." Zishang's answer was completely out of Yi Jioge's expectations. "When did you ask?" Yi Jioge asked in surprise. They were always together, so how could Zishang have the time to ask Yi Yuxuan? "Is that important?" Zishang raised his eyebrows. "Alright, that's not important. Since it wasn't Yi Yuxuan who poisoned me, who else could it be?" Yi Jioge was very confused. "I suspect it was your mother, Yun Jiaojiao." Zishang said something shocking again. "You're saying it was my mother who poisoned me?" Yi Jioge was about to explode. Could it be that not only did she have a scumbag father, she also had a scumbag mother? Chapter 228. You're not in a hurry, but I am. With Zishang's previous unreliable behavior, it would be strange if Yi Jioge believed him. Don't even think about cultivating it. Use the white bone fire to refine your Thunder Snake illusionary whip. It will also increase your combat power. Zishang's voice was very sincere, but his attitude was very perfunctory. Really? Yi Jioga took out the Thunder Snake illusionary whip from her waist. After a period of refining, this demonic weapon seemed to be more intelligent. The snake eyes on the handle faintly flashed with light. The snake body kept moving, but it was still a bit away from advancing. If you can get a 4th rank Dark Soul Grass and refine the Thunder Snake illusionary whip, not only will it advance, it will also gain a Poison Fog skill. Zishang said, "There is no Dark Soul Grass on the market in Thunder Country. Where can I find it?" Yi Jioga was depressed. Dark Soul Grass only grew in the nests of poisonous demonic beasts. Now that all the high-level demonic beasts were in the demonic race's territory, it was very difficult to find it. If there is a chance, this sovereign will go back to the demonic race and help you get a stack. But this chance would have to wait for a long time. He could not show himself in the demonic race now. "Forget it, I will think of a way." Yi Jioga shook her head. Zishang complained every day that she did not have enough demonic power. Unless it was absolutely necessary, she could not bear to order him around. Yi Jioga put away the Thunder Snake illusionary whip and began to organize the pills she needed to refine. Previously, Luo Tian had mentioned to her that Bloodthirsty Sect had a mountain protection formation. Not only did it gather all kinds of miasma, poisonous gas, and bewitching gas, it also raised a large group of extremely vicious blood mosquitoes. It was very dangerous. Yi Jioga wanted to refine a high-grade pill that could expel poison and ward off insects. But the 3-star nether grass needed for this pill was not sold in Thunder Country. She was thinking if she should let Yi Yu buy some from other places. Just as Yi Jioga was organizing things, Mother Qing's voice came from outside. "Eldest Miss, the Gong family has come to visit. Do you want to go out and meet them?" "Gong family?" Yi Jioga put down the brush and looked at Zishang. Zishang looked outside and said lazily, "It's Gong Shifan and Gong Honglei. There are also a few small fries." Why did Gong Shifan come to find me? Yi Jioga felt strange. She tidied up her appearance and walked out of the house. Zishang naturally stayed by her side. "Wait." Yi Jioga stopped and said to Zishang, "Observe from the shadows and act according to the situation." Gong Shifan was a spirit master and had seen a lot of things. She was worried that Purple Deceased Sword would expose himself. "All right." Zishang was indifferent to this, and he immediately concealed himself. Although Yi Jioga couldn't see him, he could feel that he was by his side. He immediately calmed down and walked towards the hall. In the main seat of the hall sat a tall and thin man with deep eyes and a temperament like a mountain. His brows were filled with the vicissitudes of life, and his body had a very special attraction. It was Gong Shifan. Beside him was Gong Honglei. Behind them were a man and a woman, who were both advanced spiritualists. The man was wearing blue clothes and was about 25 years old. He was quite handsome, but his eyes were a little unfocused. The woman was wearing a light yellow dress and was in her early 20s. She wasn't tall, had high cheekbones, slender eyes, and a slightly flat nose. Her looks were very average and even a little ugly. She had a rather high-rank storage bag on her waist, and her ugly face was full of arrogance. Seeing Yi Jioga come out, the woman suddenly revealed a look of disdain and even let out a cold snort. Although Yi Jioga felt that it was a little strange, he ignored her and bowed to Gong Shifan. "Jioga greets Master Gong. May I know what instructions Master Gong has for me today?" "I don't dare to give you instructions. I was just passing by and came to visit young Lady Yi." Gong Shifan smiled and pointed at Gong Honglei. "This is my nephew Honglei. I believe young lady recognizes him." Yi Jioga nodded and greeted Gong Honglei. "Young Master Gong, long time no see." "Young lady, long time no see." Gong Honglei smiled and looked at Yi Jioga with sincere and grateful eyes. Gong Shifan then introduced the man and the woman. "This is Dan Yang Sek's Qiao Xiaohua and Yu Lingjun. Jioga greets the two of you." Yi Jioga greeted them indifferently. Yu Lingjun impolitely sized Yi Jioga up and said arrogantly, "Are you Yi Shanshan's sister? The younger sister is shameless, but the older sister looks more like one." Her words were very impolite, full of contempt and humiliation. "Young lady Yu, what do you mean?" Yi Jioga's face sank. Yu Lingjuan's slap was about to hit her face. If she didn't react, others would think that she was easy to bully. Dan Yang Sek's ancestor Lingyun is my grandfather. Yu Lingjun said proudly. Dan Yang sect, ancestor Lingyun? Yi Jioga suddenly remembered that wasn't the place where Yi Shanshan was sent to be a concubine. This was a disgusting misunderstanding. Her younger sister was a concubine and her older sister, who had the same surname, was looked down upon. It was all because of Yi Yuxuan. Young lady Yi has already established her own sect and has nothing to do with the Yi clan. Don't mix them up. Gong Honglei frowned and looked at Yu Lingjun unhappily. Yu Lingjun disdainfully said, if she has nothing to do with it, then why can't she change her surname? This has nothing to do with young lady Yu. Yi Jioga was just short of saying that she was a busybody. Who said it has nothing to do with young lady Yu? Your younger sister is shameless and seduced my grandfather. Your Yi clan's upbringing is truly disgusting. Yu Lingjun wanted to say more, but she was stopped by Qiao Xiaohua. Junior sister, stop talking. Qiao Xiaohua signaled Gong Shifan with his eyes. Yu Lingjun noticed that Gong Shifan's expression was grave and cold. It was clear that he was very dissatisfied with her attitude. Yu Lingjun didn't dare to offend Gong Shifan and could only shut up. Gong Shifan suppressed Yu Lingjun and said, young lady, we came here today to ask about Alchemy City and the heretic cultivators. I thought Big Brother Bai and Big Brother Wan already told you. Yi Jioga heard from Yi Yu that Gong Shifan had already asked Bai Songling and Wan Ziang about the specifics. They did indeed tell me. They heard that the heretic cultivators are experts in using poison. The only thing that can deal with them is the goo worms that your subordinates nurtured. So I wanted to ask if it's convenient for you to sell some to us? Gong Shifan asked politely. He had been appointed as the leader to deal with bloodthirsty sect and had carefully investigated this matter. Yi Jioga's goo worms were an indispensable item on his list of resources. Yi Jioga's eyes brightened. She suddenly realized that she could use goo worms to exchange for dark soul grass with the Gong clan. The Gong clan had such a large family business, it would definitely be faster than her looking for it herself. Chapter 229. Yi Jioga was thinking about how to bring this up when Yu Lingjun suddenly said, fighting against heretic cultivators is everyone's responsibility. Do you want to take money? Yi Jioga raised his head in surprise. Who gave this person so much face to ask for something for free? That's right. Aren't you known as the hero fighting against heretic cultivators? Are you not even willing to give me something like this? Yu Lingjun said matter-of-factly. She just didn't like Yi Jioga. He was just the elder sister of a lowly concubine, yet he was in the limelight in Alchemy City. This time, the Spiritualist Alliance was going to eradicate bloodthirsty sect. The competition in the alliance was so fierce that even her position was squeezed in with great difficulty. However, Yi Jioga easily occupied a spot and even made the leader Master Gong look at him in a different light. Those goo worms were just some unorthodox methods, yet he still dared to use them as a condition. He was simply shameless. Qiao Xiaohua didn't try to dissuade his junior sister this time. Although their Danyang sect was famous for alchemy, master establishment pills were also very scarce. Yu Lingjun had an elder grandfather, so she had an advantage in this aspect. He didn't have a backer, so he could only rely on himself. Thus, he was determined to get this master establishment pill. In his eyes, Yi Jioga was a competitor. Weakening the competitor's strength was also very good. Gong Honglei was also stunned by Yu Lingjuan's shamelessness. After a while, he said angrily, "Who do you think you are to make people selflessly contribute?" "Young Master Gong, I'm talking to Miss Yi. Why are you so agitated?" Yu Lingjuan's gaze swept back and forth between Gong Honglei and Yi Jioga. Then, she muttered in a voice that everyone could hear, "The younger sister is shameless, but the older sister is no better." Gong Honglei's face turned red with anger. If it wasn't for the fact that Yu Lingjun was a woman, he would have struck her. "Miss Yu, please behave yourself. Young Master Gong and I are just friends." After Yi Jioga solemnly clarified his relationship with Gong Honglei, he said to Gong Shifan, "But Miss Yu is right. Dealing with bloodthirsty sect is everyone's matter. Those who have the ability should contribute. I'm willing to give the goo worms for free. TSK, isn't it just a goo worm? You speak as if it's something amazing. Yu Lingjun sneered. Enough. Xiao Xiaohua also felt that his junior sister's words were a bit too much, and quickly pulled her back. Miss Yi, you don't have to do this. Gong Shifan frowned. He regretted bringing the two idiots from the Danyang sect with him. Master Gong, you don't have to be so polite. It's everyone's responsibility to fight against evil cultivators. If it were Miss Yu, she would do the same. Yi Jioga looked at Yu Lingjun with a smile. Of course, Yu Lingjun replied proudly. Since that's the case, there's something I need Miss Yu's help with. I have the recipe for a high-grade insect repellent pill that can resist the bloodthirsty sect's defensive formation. I'm just missing some 3-star serene grass. Miss Yu is in the Danyang sect, so I'm sure you won't be lacking in spirit herbs. You'll definitely be willing to contribute them. Yi Jioga smiled as he dug a hole for Yu Lingjun. Gong Honglei could already tell that Yi Jioga was digging a hole for Yu Lingjun to jump into. He was very willing to help her, so he said loudly, Miss Yi can actually refine this kind of spirit pill. That's great. This way, we have more confidence in dealing with the bloodthirsty sect. With that, Gong Honglei turned to Yu Lingjun and said, Miss Yu, this 3-star serene grass is all up to you. Don't just say it and not do it. Yu Lingjun's expression changed and she quickly said, 3-star serene grass isn't cheap. Miss Yu, don't tell me you want me to contribute even the pill recipe. Yi Jioga interrupted Yu Lingjun's words. Yu Lingjun really did have this idea. Gong Honglei rushed to say again, Miss Yi is worrying too much. The Danyang sect has so many pill recipes, but I haven't seen them contribute any. In other words, if you want someone else to contribute a pill recipe, you should take one out if you have the ability. Yu Lingjun's expression changed again. Pill recipes were a secret. Even if her grandfather was the patriarch of the Danyang sect, he couldn't break this rule. Xiao Xiaohua saw that the situation was bad and quickly said, Young Master Gong, the 3-star serene grass is expensive. We are just disciples of the Danyang sect, so we can't make the decision. Is that so? When the two of you made the decision to ask Miss Yi to contribute her goo worms, you were quite loud. Gong Honglei didn't give these two any face at all. Although the Danyang sect was also a large sect, the Gong family wasn't to be trifled with. There was no need to give them face. How can those goo worms compare to the 3-star serene grass? Yu Lingjun said angrily. The 3-star serene grass was a rank 3 spirit herb. It wasn't easy to cultivate it, so it was impossible for their sect to give it away casually. Miss Yu, you're wrong. Everyone is showing their sincerity for this mission. The price is the sincerity, and my goo worms might not be worse than your 3-star serene grass. The market price of 3-star serene grass is less than 1,000 taels of gold each. My goo worms are priceless, Yi Jioga said coldly. You have the cheek to ask for a few stupid worms? Yu Lingjun's face was full of anger. She wanted to go forward and give Yi Jioga 2 slaps. Enough. Gong Shifan was really angry this time. The pressure of a spirit master crushed towards Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua. Either the Danyang sect hand over 2 caddies of 3-star serene grass or you can scram. I don't need people who go back on their words. Master Gong, how can you do this? Yu Lingjun was so angry that her face was distorted. She was the direct disciple of the Danyang sect. Master Gong was actually chasing her away for the sister of a lowly concubine? Master Gong, my junior sister is young and insensible. Please forgive her. Xiao Xiaohua could see that Gong Shifan was really angry. If he persisted, he might really be kicked out. This was an opportunity that he had fought so hard for. He definitely couldn't take it back. Since it was Yu Lingjun's fault, he could only let her bear it herself. I'll give you 3 days to prepare. Gong Shifan said coldly. Xiao Xiaohua nodded helplessly and said to Yu Lingjun, Junior sister, let's go back first. Yu Lingjun stomped her feet and glared fiercely at Yi Jioga before turning around and leaving. Gong Honglei looked at the backs of the two of them and said angrily to Gong Shifan, Third uncle, These two people simply don't know what they're talking about. Are you really going to bring them along? If they're really willing to take the 3-star serene grass. Gong Shifan was non-committal. It's best if they're willing. Without the detoxification and insect repellent pill, it will be very difficult for us to deal with the bloodthirsty sect's protective mountain formation. Yi Jioga didn't just dig a hole to deal with Yu Lingjun. Chapter 230. I wonder if young Miss can explain this mountain guarding formation in detail? Gong Shifan's expression became serious. Their spiritualist alliance didn't have any information about this mountain guarding formation. Of course. Yi Jioga didn't hide anything and told him everything that Juni Chen told her. Gong Shifan was shocked when he heard that this formation was filled with obstacles and poisonous gas, and there were many hidden blood-sucking mosquitoes. It's actually so powerful. Yes, so I have to refine this poison-repelling and insect-repelling pill. Others didn't care, but Yi Jioga definitely had to refine it. Danyang sect doesn't have enough 3-star serene grass. I'll give you another batch. Please help me refine a batch of pills for 30 people. As for the goo worms I mentioned earlier, I'll buy them from you under my own name. Just name the price. Gong Shifan requested solemnly. He never thought of taking advantage of Yi Jioga. Master Gong is indeed straightforward. Forget about the payment. If possible, I hope you can help me find a dark soul grass. Yi Jioga was advancing by retreating. Gong clan had their own elixir shop in Baimu City. They definitely had a way to get it for her. No problem. Gong Shifan nodded without hesitation. Dark soul grass was precious, but it was worth it to win over Yi Jioga. Thank you. Yi Jioga nodded. It was easy to do things with straightforward people. Our team has about 15 people and will set off in 10 days. What's young Miss Ye's plan? Do you want to come with us? Gong Shifan asked. No need, we'll set off 5 days in advance. We'll go check the situation there first and meet up then. Yi Jioga originally wanted to move with Gong Shifan, but Yu Lingjuan's attitude made her change her mind. If the righteous sects were all arrogant people like this, she wouldn't go looking for trouble. Alright. Gong Shifan knew that Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua disgusted Yi Jioga, so he didn't force her and change the topic. I heard Master Yun sent an expert to protect you. Is that true? Yi Jioga nodded. I wonder if First Miss can introduce me? Gong Shifan said with a smile. Sorry, he's not in the residence. Yi Jioga said apologetically. That's a pity. Gong Shifan smiled regretfully. If there is a chance, I will bring him to visit you. Yi Jioga said politely. She still needed the help of the Gong family for her dark soul grass, so she still had to say some polite words. I will definitely welcome you with open arms. At this point, Gong Shifan's attitude became serious and he said solemnly, Eldest Miss, I have something to ask of you. Master Gong, please speak. Yi Jioga had already guessed what he wanted to say. Young Miss, you should have heard that my big brother's son, Gong Baiyu, was born with an eye disease. Many spiritual doctors were unable to treat it, so I want to ask Master Yun to take a look. As long as Master Yun can cure Baiyu's disease, our Gong family is willing to pay any price. Gong Shifan's promise was so heavy that even Yi Jioga was moved. Unfortunately, she didn't know where her grandfather was. She could only rely on herself to fight for this promise. Hence, Yi Jioga said apologetically, my grandfather's whereabouts are uncertain. Even if I have a way to send a message, I don't know when he will receive it. If Master Gong doesn't mind, can I first diagnose young Master Baiyu's illness? Of course, but Baiyu isn't in 100 Eye City now. He is in the Boundless sect, Gong Shifan said. Isn't the Boundless sect a place for Buddhist cultivators? Why did young Master Baiyu go there? Yi Jioga asked curiously. With the importance the Gong family placed on Gong Baiyu, it was impossible for them to let him become a monk. Gong Shifan hesitated for a moment before saying, Baiyu's eye disease is getting worse. He can't sleep at night. He can only rest for a while at the Boundless sect. It's that serious? Yi Jioga suddenly felt that something was wrong. The eye disease affected the brain, and it was spreading too quickly. Even she wasn't confident that she could cure it. Yes, I heard that the blood lotus can calm the mind. I wanted to find one for him to try. The reason why Gong Shifan was willing to be the team leader was not only to take revenge for Gong Hongyu, but also to obtain the blood lotus to alleviate Gong Baiyu's illness. I see. Yi Jiuge sighed. Master Dongfang was also determined to obtain the blood lotus. He was even willing to use master establishment pills to exchange for it. He hoped that the blood lotus in the bloodthirsty sect would be enough for the two of them to fight for it. Gong Shifan chatted with brother Yi Jiu for a while longer. Just as he was about to leave, Gong Honglei, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, "Eldest miss, I have a question, but I don't know if I should ask it." "Young Master Gong, please speak," Yi Jiuge said politely. "You are the only descendant of the Yun family. Why don't you change your surname back to Yun?" Gong Honglei really wanted to ask this when Yu Lingjun humiliated Yi Jiuge. This? What was she supposed to say? When she broke off with her scumbag father and came out to establish her own family, she still wanted to change her surname. However, Emperor Xianwu suddenly gave her a Yi residence plaque. It was obvious that he wanted her to continue fighting with her scumbag father. She had just established her own family, so it wasn't good for her to embarrass Emperor Xianwu. However, Yu Lingjun used the fact that Yi Shanshan was a concubine to attack her. This made her realize that as long as she continued to use her surname, Yi Yuxuan's tricks would affect her reputation. Now, it seemed that it was necessary to change her surname, but she still had to find the right time. I still have some face in front of Emperor Xianwu. If eldest Miss Yi wants to change, I can help. Gong Shifan could see Yi Jiuge's fear. This simple sentence showed the demeanor of an expert. Although Emperor Xianwu was the emperor of Thunder Country, he was still far inferior to the Gong family. It was a piece of cake for the Gong family to ask him to change his edict. If that's the case, thank you. Yi Jiuge nodded. Since the Gong family was willing to help, she didn't refuse. I'll get someone to send the 3-star nethergrass and the dark soul flower over later. I wonder if eldest Miss is free in the afternoon? Gong Shifan asked. I'll be at home for the next few days. Yi Jiuge nodded. It's getting late. We'll leave first. Gong Shifan said goodbye and left. In the afternoon, the Gong family sent the 3-star nethergrass and the dark soul flower over. There were only 3 to 4 portions of the 3-star nethergrass. This was the Gong family's reserve in Thunder Country. The rest was being urgently deployed. It would take about 2 more days. There was enough dark soul grass. It was a box full of black spiritual herbs. The dense spiritual energy it emitted was like a black fog. The quality was very high. Gong Shifan was indeed a straightforward person. After Yi Jiuge got the 3-star nethergrass, she prepared to make a cauldron of poison and insect-repellent pills. As for using the dark soul grass to forge the Thunder Snake illusionary whip, Zi Shang took over. Chapter 231. In the alchemy room, Yi Jiuge stood in front of the small bronze cauldron and focused on controlling the white bone fire for the final stage of core formation. The cauldron emitted a white glow as the medicinal liquid quickly condensed into dozens of white pills. When the cauldron was opened, an extremely cold aura rushed out and the temperature in the room immediately plummeted. This Yin pill is not bad. Zi Shang raised his eyebrows. It was his first time refining such a difficult Yin pill, yet it was so perfect. Xiao Jiuge was indeed amazing. Do you think Gong Shifan will dare to eat it if he knows it's a Yin pill? Yi Jiuge asked Zi Shang worriedly. She did not tell Gong Shifan that the poison and insect repellent pill she refined was a Yin pill. This was because the Yin pill was not suitable for spiritualists and would feel uncomfortable eating it. However, the bloodthirsty sect's protective formation was too powerful and spirit pills could not resist it. Only the Yin pill could fight poison with poison. He would be stupid if he doesn't eat it. Zi Shang did not think Gong Shifan was a fool. The greatest effect of the Yin pill Xiao Jiuge refined was not to expel poison and insects but to kill them. After consuming this Yin pill, no matter what poison entered the body, it would immediately be metabolized and form poisonous sweat on the surface of the body. Mosquitoes would die if they touched it. This was the pill she specially researched based on the bloodthirsty sect's protective formation. You're right. Since I've already refined the pill, it's up to them whether they eat it or not. As Yi Jioga spoke, she put away the Een pill in the cauldron. 2 more cauldrons and then help me deal with the dark soul grass. Zi Shang glanced at the remaining 3-star nethergrass. The Gong family and Danyang sect had sent another batch, so they could refine a total of 300 Een pills, which greatly exceeded their budget. Okay. Yi Jioga quickly refined the remaining 3-star nethergrass and went to help Zi Shang sort out the dark soulgrass. Each dark soulgrass was only the length of a pinky and was completely black. The thicker the mist emitted, the more poisonous it was. What Yi Jioga needed to do was to use the white bone fire to extract the poison from the dark soulgrass. Zi Shang stood in the corner and injected demonic power into the Thunder Snake illusionary whip. As the black and purple light poured into it, the Thunder Snake illusionary whip seemed to have awakened. Its snake eyes flickered with a cruel light. It nimbly flew out of Zi Shang's hand and circled around Yi Jioga. Yi Jioga set up a 3-finger-wide, 1-foot-long iron plate in the middle of the pill refining room. He then placed all the dark soul grass on it and summoned the white bone fire to roast the grass. Every time a dark soul grass burned out, it would turn into a cloud of black mist and try to escape. But before they could drift far away, they would be swallowed by the lightning snake illusory whip. More and more black fog appeared and fled in all directions. The thunder snake illusionary whip's movements also abruptly sped up. It moved around the house like a black lightning bolt, swallowing all the black mist into its mouth. Its originally silver-white body was gradually dyed with black mist, making it look even more ferocious. Zi Shang had been paying close attention to the lightning snake illusionary whip's movements. When the lightning snake illusionary whip swallowed the last of the black mist, he flicked his finger, and a drop of blood flew into the lightning snake illusionary whip's mouth. "What are you doing?" Yi Jioga was shocked. Wasn't dripping blood to recognize the owner something she should do? Could it be that this guy wanted to steal her weapon? You're thinking too much. How could Zi Shang be interested in this small demon equipment? His low HP was just to add another layer of protection to the demonic artifact. After absorbing Zi Shang's blood, the lightning snake illusionary whip immediately changed. On top of the silver snake, there was an additional black snake. The snake's head intertwined with the neck, and the snake's body intertwined, extending downwards. Try it. Zi Shang threw the lightning snake illusionary whip to Yi Jioga. After Yi Jioga received it, she inserted her spiritual energy into it. The lightning snake illusionary whip immediately expanded, and a silver-white light shone, completely enveloping the black snake. After the upgrade, the lightning snake illusionary whip had even more attack power than before. But Yi Jioga felt that it shouldn't be just that. She put her index finger into the snake's fang on the handle. After absorbing blood, the lightning snake illusionary whip changed into a demon equipment. In an instant, it became completely black, and its attack was incomparably strange. As long as one was hit, they would immediately die from poison. If it was at night, it would definitely be impossible to defend against. Yi Jioga was very satisfied with this. I placed a seal inside. If you encounter a situation where you have to risk your life, you can open this seal. Zi Shang told Yi Jioga the method to remove the seal. Yi Jioga carefully memorized it. This seal was made by Zi Shang using her own blood essence. It was definitely her life-saving weapon. Yi Jioga adapted to the new function of the lightning snake illusionary whip, then wrapped it around his waist and left the alchemy room. Then he called Mother Qing over. Has there been any movement in the palace in the past few days? Did His Majesty give us any decree? Yi Jioga asked. I haven't heard of any movement in the palace. Mother Qing shook her head and cautiously asked Yi Jioga, Eldest Miss, what decree do you think His Majesty will give us? Nothing much. Yi Jioga didn't tell Mother Qing about changing back to her surname Yun. If the Gong family didn't handle this matter well, Mother Qing would definitely be very disappointed. Won't you know after asking Gong Shifan? At the same time, take a look at who the Spiritualist Alliance sent over. Zi Shang said beside Yi Jioga's ear. All right. Yi Jioga nodded. The Spiritualist Alliance was the main force to deal with the bloodthirsty ancestor. She had to carefully understand their strength. If they were all swindlers like Danyang sect, then she would have to consider whether or not to cooperate with them. The Spiritualist Alliance's special encampment in Shangjing was at 17 West Main Street. It wasn't very far. Yi Jioga stored the 3 gu worms and 200 yin pills that Zhu Nichen sent over. Then, he sat in the carriage with Zi Shang and headed towards the Spiritualist Alliance's encampment. When they were about to get off the carriage, Yi Jioga said to Zi Shang, "Same old method. Hide in the dark and act according to the situation." Zi Shang refused. Yi Jioga frowned. This guy was usually quite obedient. Why was he acting out today? No reason. Zi Shang directly got off the carriage and walked towards the gate. "Wait for me." Yi Jioga quickly followed. Did this guy still remember his identity as a guard? "Sorry, I forgot." Zi Shang quickly turned back into an obedient guard. He stood behind Yi Jioga without a sense of presence. Yi Jioga knocked on the door. The person who opened the door was a clever young man. When he heard that Yi Jioga was here to deliver pills to Master Gong, he said politely, "Master Gong is at the martial arts field. This way, please." After saying that, he led the way. Yi Jioga followed the young man through the long corridor. After turning a corner, they arrived at the incomparably spacious martial arts field. At this moment, the martial arts field was filled with spiritualists. It should be the team that Gong Shifan was leading this time. These spiritualists were all advanced spiritualists. Among them, Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua stood in front of Yi Jioga. Seeing Yi Jioga walking over, Yu Lingjun's eyes immediately revealed a resentful light. She lowered her head and said a few words to a young girl beside her. The young girl looked up at Yi Jioga in surprise. She immediately revealed a mocking expression and touched her companion beside her. Just like that, the spiritualists at the scene quickly noticed Yi Jioga's appearance. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.